Good evening, race fans. It's time for another season of IndyCar racing. Welcome to the Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series from the Elite Racing Network. Tonight, we are at virtual Homestead-Miami Speedway on the High Banks, running 300 laps tonight. Welcome to the Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series once again. Tonight's race is the Maconi Setup Shop Indy 300. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mark Gillespie, along with Rish Kozla in the broadcast booth tonight. And this should be an interesting season after the Road to Indy warm-up races over the last few weeks, Rish.
Yeah, I cannot wait to get this underway here. We're gonna have we've got a lot of drivers here attempting to qualify for events. I mean, we expect to have 36 or 33 cars, depending on the race, on any given weekend, and it's gonna be competitive racing. It's gonna be great racing. I mean, I've been an IndyCar fan for longer than I've been a NASCAR fan, which is the two series that I've been covering now here on the Elite Racing Network. So I cannot wait to be bringing you guys some IndyCar races here as well.
And as a longtime IndyCar fan, I can't wait for this either. We have 11 weeks of action between now and June. Tonight we're at Homestead. Next weekend on the streets of Long Beach, then Michigan on March 12th, Milwaukee March 19th, April a busy month, Mid-Ohio, Phoenix, and the Indy Grand Prix, followed by Indy 500 qualifying April 30th, the Indy 500 on May 7th. Finally, Texas and Gateway round out the season on May 21st and June 11th. And as Rich said, we have a full field tonight. A little over a minute left in qualifying. Henry Bennett and R.C. Enerson are your front rows so far, but we will see if anybody pulls in a quick one on that last minute or so of qualifying here.
Yeah, looks so far that we might actually have most drivers done here. Not seeing too many guys running any kind of noticeable speed here on timing and scoring. So that might be our final results here. So we can potentially take a look and see exactly what those results there are. And you can see we expect Henry Bennett will be your pole sitter. R.C. Enerson then on the outside, just missing out. Look at how small that gap is, 6 thousandths of a second between first and second position here. It's and that's hopefully a sign of things to come here over the next 200 laps of just how close things are going to be. I mean, look at that top 10 and just how close those lap times are. Three
Yeah.
hundredths of a second separating the top 10.
Let,
Ridiculous.
let's give a shout out to our sponsor, Mega Driver 86 on Twitter, with top notch NASCAR content, along with IndyCars all the way to supercars. Make sure you give Mega Driver 86 a follow on Twitter. We also want to thank our sponsors, C2 Freight Resources, offering complete freight management services. They can meet your needs today and your changing needs in the future. With thousands of qualified carriers in the database, they can handle anything. If you need to move it, they can move it for you. That's C2 Freight Resources. We are getting ready to line them up on the grid right now.
Yeah, so we might have an interesting situation here because we might have had more than 40 cars attempt to qualify for this event. You'll see here this is the pace car, official pace car behind the iRacing pace car. Looks like once you have more than 40 cars inside a lobby in iRacing, they actually have them run. They force you to run a heat race. So we've actually got just 4 drivers in here. I believe everybody's already been locked in through qualifying. This is purely just a going to be a processional here to make sure that everybody makes the race here. But yeah, an interesting situation. So it does look a little bit strange on your screen right now if you see that Corvette car gridding up with maybe 2 or 3 Indy cars. But it should just be the 41 car here of AJ Hobson, who I believe has made the field. We'll have 2 other drivers who are going home tonight.
And if you're looking at the scoring, you'll see the pace car is technically number 86 with Ethan Reasoner behind the wheel. Once again, AJ Musselman and Thomas Geisler, it looks like they're the drivers that will be going home tonight.
Yeah, unfortunate for them, but I mean that just once again goes to show the competitiveness of this series. Is we've only got a fixed number of spots. IndyCar is not one of those sports where we're gonna have 43 to 50 cars on a track. You'll normally see. I mean, 36 even tonight is a pretty high number for IndyCar numbers. 33 is typically seen as the cap, as that's normally the cap at the Indy 500. Um, so it's definitely difficult for those guys, but I'm sure they're going to be going back. They'll be practicing for next week's race, and they'll be ready to go to try and make that event. Not to be too discouraged here by tonight's event. I mean, it's a very, very competitive field here.
Let's give a shout out to our sponsor for tonight's race, the Maconi Setup Shop LLC. They were founded back in May 2020 around the iRacing platform. They cater to customers a range of skill from brand new to the service to multi-year iRacing veterans. They offer setups for 14 different cars each week at MaconiSetupShop.com. Be sure to follow them on Twitter at Maconi Setup Shop. You can also like their Facebook page and grab all of your setups by the top building team on iRacing at MaconiSetupShop.com. AJ Hobson is out in front of the pace car, the official Elite Racing League pace car, but behind the one that counts, the iRacing pace car, so that race control doesn't have a hissy.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to this event because I mean we haven't seen modern Indy cars here at the Homestead-Miami Speedway, and it's a super unique track in its layout where it's a 1.5 mile length, but unlike your typical cookie cutters like you'd imagine if you're familiar with IndyCar, Texas Motor Speedway where you've kind of got that D shape, it's very much kind of just an oblong shape, and it's a unique challenge for these drivers. You've got two straights effectively joined by different radius corners on either end, and I'm curious to see how these guys tackle this change, because we haven't seen, I don't even think the DW12s have been here. I think the last time they raced here, off the top of my head, was 2009, I want to say.
It has been a long time. The track, if you look at it from an aerial view, looks almost like a carabiner clip.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it kind of looks like there, and so again, you're gonna have two very different approaches for turns 1 and 2, and then for turns 3 and 4. And so we may see cars strong or weak in different areas of the track, and again, that's just going to continue to add to the craziness that is this race. I mean, we saw the lap times were close, but they could have been made in very different ways. And then, of course, the other really interesting thing I'm curious to see is, unlike the NASCAR events that we do here on the Elite Racing Leagues, you do have a little bit of setup that you can play with on these cars where you can adjust roll bars and, more importantly, your weight jacker in these cars. And that can really affect the handling, whether you're tight or loose in traffic or on your own. And you can really adjust the overall feeling of the car with just those two little controls there. So drivers have a lot of tools at their disposal. They just need to figure out which ones are going to get them to the front of the pack.
And which ones will be the screw it up and the screw it up even worse controls.
Absolutely, yeah. No, it took me a while to figure out when I was running some Indy cars a few seasons back, and even had a situation where my wheel would either go to fully to the right on the weight jacker or fully to the left on the weight jacker. So I was either dead loose or ridiculously tight, and nowhere in between. So if you don't have that set up right, it can be absolutely detrimental. But you'll see there, AJ Hobson wins this heat race, is the only realistic competitor. But we're going to have drivers now gridding up and getting ready to go. So now that they're all on track, we'll show you what this starting grid looks like. And there you see that front row of Henry Bennett and R.C. Enerson.
Then Alexander Van de Sant and Adrian Pinheiro in the second row. Tyler Foti and Leandro Joncos in the third row. Chad Frankenfield and Nick Degroot make up your fourth row.
Brendan Madonia and Andrew Marquez on that fifth row, finishing off your top 10. Yari Brupaker, excuse me if I messed that up there, and Alexander Regan make up that sixth row. Ryan Schold, Justin Fortner, and Hunter Smith and Luis Gonzalez Nunez finish out that top 16 there. We'll continue to scroll through the grid. I wanted to talk, you saw him up there in P5, Tyler Foti. I believe this is his first time attempting an IndyCar start, and these are not similar machines to the NASCAR trucks that he's been the champion of the past 2 seasons, and the NASCAR Cup cars that he's run for championships in the past. So an impressive run there from that number 40 car of Tyler Foti. We'll take a look and see what he can do in the race, but to qualify P5 on pure merit is a very impressive start to his IndyCar debut.
Of course, he basically was bounced out of the Truck Series after winning 2 in a row. At that point, you're not allowed to race for points in the Truck Series anymore, so we're going to see if Tyler can handle it behind the wheel of an IndyCar right now as the field pulls away. Henry Bennett in car number 1 is your leader.
Yeah,
As
Henry
the
Bennett.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, yeah, Henry Bennett's going to lead this field down to green. We're going to have, I think, just one lap here under caution before we get to the green flag with the size of this racetrack. So some of these guys who are straggling a little bit at the back are going to need to make sure they're all lined up and ready to go here for this race start. And this is really one of the few opportunities guys are going to have to start side by side, because restarts should be single file, as we will be following just about as closely to the real-life IndyCar rules as it possibly gets. The biggest difference probably being just the racetracks we visit here, as Homestead-Miami, of course, not on the current IndyCar schedule.
As we head around, the virtual palm trees are swaying in the virtual breeze at Miami tonight. The pace car is off the track, and Henry Bennett brings them down to the starting line. We are underway with the Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series debut race at Homestead-Miami as they head down into turn 1. Bennett pulling out to about a half a car length lead. Bennett in the green car, number 1, followed by R.C. Enerson, Alexander Vanderson, Tyler Fode, Chad Frankenfield, your top 5.
Yeah, let's take a look here. You can see there Chad Frankenfield working on his Cup Series rival, Tyler Fode. And this is something that I'm looking forward to watching all night here, is there's going to be a lot of overtaking. And you see there Tyler Fode even gets checked up there off of turn 4 and is under attack now by Nick Degroot in that number 89 car, the motorsport.com editor, going for a topside move. I think we're going to have a lot of grooves to work with. You can see them spread out wildly across the racetrack coming through the first couple of corners. What a great opening lap here.
It is somewhat difficult to see the car numbers on these cars as they come through. Bennett now in second. R.C. Enerson has taken the lead in the 00. Vanderson, Frankenfeld, and Degroot, your top 5. Tyler Fode down to 6th now.
Absolutely, yeah. We can switch as well to some different tickers we've got going on here. But absolutely, I mean, such an impressive group of drivers here, and you can see there Henry Bennett already lost position to R.C. Enerson, and you can see a little bit tight on that car, and he might lose a run here to the 97 car, of Alexander Vandersant. And there he goes, who just set the fastest lap of the race there. He's going to go for an inside move on Henry Bennett to try and get that run there. Not quite able to, as Henry Bennett stays around the outside. I believe Henry is actually our reigning champion there, donning the number 1 here in the Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series. But yeah, you've got to fix your car, and you're gonna have a completely different setup and feel to your car when you're running in the draft or behind another car than what you have when you're running up front. So R.C. Enerson right now is absolutely in the most comfortable position of anybody in this field.
And we should note that R.C. has a track record in the real world as well. He has run several IndyCar races in the real world, part of the Road to Indy series, and has done even a couple of stock car races.
Yeah, absolutely. If there's anybody in this field who knows these Indy cars well, it's going to be R.C. Enerson, and he's coming fresh off of a win at a 2-mile track. He's been working on his oval craft very significantly, especially in those NASCAR Cup cars. Fresh off a win there this past Wednesday in our Cup Series. So R.C. Enerson is riding on a high right now, and we'd love to see, obviously, he's now back in his comfort zone. He's got these high downforce cars underneath him. This should be where we'd expect to see that 0-0 car really performing. But, I mean, look at this battle for second place here. These guys have been side by side going at it. I mean, Alexander Vandersant has been running high up against the wall this entire time. He's been really trying to make that work, and you can see just how high he's running there. The banking here, I think it's progressive banking here at the Homestead-Miami Speedway, allows for that and just gives you so many chances to make moves around this racetrack.
We should point out, speaking of other races, Tuesday night there's a big one coming up. I want to give the folks a little bit of highlight of what we're doing with the trucks on Tuesday night.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we're going to be having I don't want to get the event name incorrect, but we're having a Pro-Am event effectively at Gateway. So that's WWT Raceway in St. Louis, virtual St. Louis and virtual Gateway, of course. But we used to do this back in 2020, back when the pandemic first started. It was a really great chance for the drivers who spent so much time on the sim, and a lot of the pros who didn't have much track time when we were during lockdown, that initial stages of lockdown. We got them all together and basically had a chance for elite racing drivers to compete against the elites of the real world. I mean, already headlining this upcoming event are the likes of Kyle Busch, Connor Daly, RC, of course, is going to be there. We've got a whole number of other NASCAR Cup Series drivers, IndyCar drivers. It's going to be an absolutely great event at the WWT Speedway, sponsored by WWT Raceway. And of course, it's all going to be brought to you here on the Elite Racing Network. I myself will be in the booth along with David Westergreen and Michael Goodman. So absolutely tune in on Tuesday night for that. That's going to be one heck of an event. I love those so much because I made one of the events when they were in IndyCars at Daytona. And let me just say, running in a pack at the end, competing for a win against the likes of Marcus Ericsson, Robert Wickens, Connor Daly, and Alexander Rossi. I mean, that's surreal for someone like me who grew up watching a lot of those guys and still watches them on the TV today.
And I'm just trying to double check the time for you. I believe it starts at 7:30 Eastern time on Tuesday night. Once again, you'll find it on the... Go ahead, Grit.
I believe you're right about that. I was just going to say.
R.C. Enerson, still your leader. We're on lap 12 now. Of course, R.C. and his family run the Lucas Oil School of Racing, which is one of the reasons why you see Lucas Oil proudly sponsored on R.C.'s car. Van der Sant has moved... Frankenfeld has just moved ahead of Van der Sant. Place. Henry Bennett down to fourth right now.
Yeah, Henry Bennett struggling a little bit now that he's not in clean air.
Oh, here we go. Chad's ahead. Chad has taken over the lead barely from RC. RC coming back on the upside. Coming back on that high line. And manages to keep Chad from actually leading the lap. He just nosed ahead of him at the starting line.
Yeah, I mean, that was they get together.
Enerson's in the wall. He tapped with Frankenfield. Enerson went up into the wall in turn 2. This is going to be interesting, and we'll see what race control does. Let's check the Irace online replay.
Yeah, that looked like those two came together a little bit. Might have been a situation with Chad Frankenfield maybe getting a little bit tight underneath R.C. Enerson. Let's take a look and see exactly what happened. It might have actually been R.C. coming down a little bit there on Chad Frankenfield. Obviously, we'll see what race control says about that, but R.C. already got the worst of that situation. I don't think anybody else hit that 0-0 car when he got rerunning there. So really unfortunate for RC there. That's a lot of damage on that car. He might be done for the night.
It looks like everybody else got through there safely, and looking at it from my angle, it looks like a racing incident to me because they both just came down on each other, and I don't think either one could have avoided it.
Yeah, it definitely seems like that might have been the case there. We'll see what race control says, but I struggle to put that on either driver. I think that's just a case of that kind of, you're coming off of turn 2. One driver's going up, one driver's coming down. That's just how that racing is, and really unfortunate for the early leader here, R.C. Enerson, as he's out. But we've got cars coming down pit road here, just 15 laps into this race. Tires, I think, are going to be a pretty important commodity for these guys. Really, really important to keep fresh tires and keep the handling, or keep ahead of the handling on your race car. Chad Frankenfield brings it to a stop here, and we'll see who's able to lead off of pit road.
Everybody's shuffling through the order here. Looks like Frankenfield will be out first.
Yeah, and might actually be, looks like A.J. Hobson, the driver who took part in that earlier. Yeah, A.J. Hobson, who took part in the last car qualifier there, is going to be your leader. He looks like he stayed out, as well as Fabio Viana. So a strategy call for those guys. And you'll also notice that we're going to be running some manual pace laps after. I think we'll have a manual pace lap after the official iRacing pace car pits in. So a little bit of a new system here that we're also working through here for the first time. So we'll keep you guys updated with how this all kind of works out here, with this being the first restart of the new season.
It looks like Viana has moved back down a little bit in the field, is down to a fourth now, and Hobson is still your leader from staying out and trying to at least get that point for laps led. Frankenfield, Van der Sant, then Viana, Henry Bennett, Rick Degroot, Tyler Fode, your top 7. Pinario, the 8th place. Tom Miles in 9th. Leandro Juncos, racing for the Juncos Racing stable that has been active in IndyCar and sports cars in the real world. Leandro is in 9th now.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing what this next stage kind of looks like. Guys are probably a little bit more used to racing with each other now. Things are going to change up a little bit in terms of how they tackle. I'm curious to see how we do this restart, really, because if it's a single file restart, we've seen issues on those in the past where, I mean, you've got a lot of cars lined up, you know, nose to tail, and if one car checks up slightly, I mean, that can result in a detrimental situation for everybody behind him. I mean, we've seen that happen a number of times here in the elite racing leagues, or even on public lobbies in iRacing here. If we go double
And
file,
in the real world too.
yeah, in the real world as well. I mean, how many times have we seen restarts? I mean, Pocono is one of the most famous ones that come to mind. Almost every time we went to Pocono, we seem to have some crazy restart incident. But yeah,
and Gateway last season had a fun one.
Yeah, right at the very start, wasn't it? Yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
that.
and I'm using that term "fun" very loosely, but yeah, it was an interesting restart.
Yeah, oh, for sure. I still, last season as an Alexander Rossi fan myself, it was a very rough one, to say the least.
I know we had Alex on the our Friday night happy hour whiskey cast webcast a few weeks ago along with Inch, and Alex just, I don't think he's still gotten over how bad last season really was.
Yeah,
I think 2020 is the year he wants to forget.
Definitely, it must be. I mean, when you're a driver at that level, I mean, you can't even fathom an idea of an entire year going by where just bad things continue to happen to you, right? Where you just continue to have bad luck. Like, I mean, sure, drivers have bad races or you know, bad strings of races, but to go an entire season and to really have no real good luck throughout that entire season, I mean, again, I remember watching at St. Pete, the final race of the season, and he was comfortably leading, and the car snapped around on him. And I mean, that was like, first hit me shock, and then I was just like, yeah, that pretty much sums up the 2020 for Alexander Rossi.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think look out for that 27 car in real world racing, because I think he's definitely got something that he's running for in 2021. He's got a lot of vengeance on his mind, I think, after last year.
Yeah, as our buddy Marshall Pruitt from Racer Magazine would put it, the cartoon anvil got a lot of action last year in Rossi's pit.
Absolutely, yeah, it was brutal, and I mean, we've seen that happen to drivers in the past, where it's just drivers or teams even where you just cannot seem to shake that bad luck. But I mean, fresh off a Rolex 24 win, you'd seem to think he's maybe gotten rid of some of that bad luck for 2021, but
okay,
we'll
wait a second. Let's sorry to interrupt, but we're getting ready to go back to green now as the field is in single file line. The pace car should be pulling off here. They're heading down the back stretch. I'm sorry to interrupt you there, Rich, but
no, absolutely.
We're starting to get back to green here, and we need to see just how long it's going to take for Hobson to get swallowed up by the field here.
Yeah, absolutely. This is what we're here for. The pace car is going to dive off here onto pit road here, and AJ Hobson's going to control this restart. The question is, like you said, how quickly does he get eaten up? Chad Frankenfield will have a draft. He'll have much fresher tires. Hobson will hit the gas pedal, but already you can see there the 15 car dives to the bottom and easily to the lead of the race.
And here comes Van de Sant around the inside too. Hobson now down to third. Viana should be next up. We're all the way clean through the first two turns on the restart. Frankenfield leading down the backstretch. Van de Sant making the move on the inside.
Yeah, Van der Sant not quite able to get there past Chad Frankenfield, but yeah, look out for this 97 car. He's been looking very, very quick here. And again, on this oval, it's really just about getting those runs. You've got a huge draft that can pull you forward, and it's very easy to mess up through these corners. You know, we've seen guys who are running pretty high up early on, and they've fallen back. And this field's going to shuffle a lot more before the end of the night. But for right now, it is Van der Sant versus Chad Frankenfield, and Van der Sant's going to have to just look for any kind of chinks in Chad's armor here if he's going to want to make a pass.
Let's watch as they head down the backstretch right now. Van der Sant in the race-verse car. We'll be hearing from Raceverse next week at Long Beach. They're sponsoring the race next week. Once again, you are watching the Maconi Setup Shop Indy 300 tonight from virtual Homestead. Henry Bennett making a move now on Pinheiro.
Tyler Fody getting involved in that as well. Not used to seeing him in an orange and black car for me. It's a strange sight for sure, but he's got Days Gone By now sponsoring him in the IndyCar Series this season. So looking forward to seeing that. But yeah, the iconic Blue Egg marketing scheme that we're used to seeing him in that NASCAR truck is no more right now.
That's Pinheiro in the white and black car, number 12.
Yeah, let's see.
He's coming over. He's going to clear Hobson now. He should clear him and coming into the next turn.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, running that high line for Hobson, it's going to give him a great run off the corner. And you see there, he's able to stay ahead. And even now, Pinheiro is under attack by Henry Bennett, who's on a charge back up the field there as Henry Bennett now makes the pass for the 6th position. He's now going to try and get past A.J. Hobson. Hobson's taking that higher line, which it seems hurts him on the entry to the corner. But, I mean, I was going to say he's going to have the run off of it, but I mean, Henry Bennett, I think with the fresh tires, one of the fastest cars in the field right now, to your pole sitter, easy pass there for the number 1 car, but he's got some work to do. He's down in P5. He's got some chasing to get back up to that 1st position.
We're on lap 26 right now. Chad Frankenfield, Van der Sant, Viana, Degroot, and Henry Bennett are your top 5 tonight in the Maconi setup shop Indy 300.
We got some great racing going on here. I mean, guys still side by side, and potentially we'll get to see here what a long run looks like for these cars and what tire wear and all of that starts to look like for them. But right now we're seeing guys aggressive, fighting each other pretty harshly, which to me means that they don't expect to really lose any kind of ability to race side by side as this run continues to go on, or potentially it's such a good opportunity now and there's not going to be much later that you have to be aggressive early on and then just protect your tires for the rest of the run here. But we are starting to see them single file out just a little bit, but still runs to be seen up and down.
If we have a chance, can we pull up Tyler's in-car? And let's take a look and see how he's handling it compared to how he drove the trucks.
Absolutely. Let's take a look and ride on the roll bar here with Tyler Fody, this number 40.
Coming down the main stretch to complete lap 27. Taking the middle line through turn 1.
Once again, I mean, just look at how smooth those inputs are from Tyler Fody, and that's really the key to being fast. And more importantly, I mean, when we talked about Fody back in the Truck Series, and we still do in Cup and Xfinity, is how he's able to save tires and really make a set of tires go longer than anybody else or work longer for him than anybody else. It's these smooth inputs. You're not scrubbing off a lot of speed. You're not scrubbing off a lot of rubber. And you don't really see him making corrections in the middle of turns. And that's super, super important here to both good lap time and just extending the life of your tires. This is a great onboard, and this is a great model to follow for anybody who's curious on how to drive these IndyCars around this Homestead-Miami Speedway.
And let's point out, he's doing this for the first time tonight.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, impressive debut here for Tyler Fody, currently running P5. I mean, if he was able to bring the car home in a top 10 finish, I mean, that'd be an extraordinarily impressive thing, again, when you consider the competition he's up against.
Pinheiro has gotten around to Bennett and is challenging Fody now for 5th place. Pinheiro is in 6th, Bennett is in 7th, Jari Brubaker is in 8th, and Leandro Juntos is in 9th. Hobson has jumped back down to 10th. Chad Frankenfield still has a slight, about a second lead over Van der Sant up at the front of the field. Viana is holding on, but he's going to have to pit soon. He has not pitted yet.
That's correct. Yeah, actually. So let's see. Where is he? He's running up in 3rd position right now, and has a
he
pretty
inherited
sizable
that. He inherited 3rd because he and Hobson both stayed out during the first round of pit stops after the incident between Frankenfield and Enerson. But at some point here, he's going to have to dive in there.
He's fighting with Van der Sant, though, which is extremely impressive. 33 laps on those tires here, and he's fighting a driver with just 17 laps on his tires. So impressive run right now by Viana in that 67 car. Right now competing for that 2nd position. And Van der Sant falling back to the 67 as Tyler Fody moves up another position, up into the 4th position. Nick Degroot is trying for a move on Pinheiro. We've got a great little three-way scrap for this 4th position.
This is what really makes IndyCar racing so exciting in the real world as well as in iRacing. You just see everybody getting so close to each other. It's not like the trucks or the stock cars where you have a lot of bump drafting going on. It is nose to tail and a dogfight all the way around.
Yeah, absolutely. And you need to remember that these guys are doing upwards of 215, 220 miles an hour while they're doing this. I mean, it's ridiculous. I think your typical NASCAR, even your Cup Series car, I think would be doing something like 180, not even all the way around this racetrack. So I mean, these cars are going at such a ridiculous pace. And of course, this isn't even them really in their highest spec. I mean, we go to Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and I think even in iRacing, we can expect to see 235, 236 mile an hour average laps. I mean, it's ridiculous just how fast these cars are, especially in the sim. I think in real life, you drop a couple of miles an hour there. Oh, it's Tyler Fode, I think, has just massive hit there. And there you go. That might bring out the caution flag here as he is on the track upside down. But right now, no caution. There it is. Guys are going to have to dive out of the way of that number 40 car. And yeah, there's
somebody hit him.
Yeah, somebody might have made contact there. Just a strange situation with these cars and how they bounce. I mean, iRacing, when cars get up in the air, it gets a little bit crazy. But what on earth happened there to Tyler Fode?
Let's take a look at this. The iRace online replay.
All right, let's head over here and take a look. Tyler Fode, off of turn number 4, did he just get high and track up into the outside wall? I think that's exactly what happened. Oh, no.
No.
There was another car around. That was the 67, I think, of Fabio Vieira. It was.
Let's see where Vienna was at the time, because we didn't see him slowing down at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Vienna got involved in an incident before, and Tyler Fode was simply just a passenger in that. So we'll head back, and here's Fabio Vienna, the top car on your screen there, fighting with Alexander Van der Sande. Looks like Van der Sande just goes up into Vienna.
And Vienna had those old tires, too.
There we go. That's the contact. Huge contact there. Once again, thankfully, this is a virtual world. Nobody's hurt. Nobody's hurt. But man, oh man, definitely hurt feelings for Fabio Vienna and Tyler Fode, who are both out of this race after that horrific incident.
And there will need to be real-world underwear to be changed, though, and not in the virtual world. That is a Code Brown moment.
For sure, absolutely. I mean, that's brutal as well. I mean, a situation like that for, I mean, when we were just talking about Tyler Fode as well, your commentator's curse, if you will, just kind of bearing down on him. I mean, he was having a great debut, and through no fault of his own, I think, there. Once again, you're going so fast, that's what we were talking about before that incident, that you don't have the same kind of time to react to incidents that you might in a Cup car or in an Xfinity car or a Trucks or any of those stock cars. Once you're ready and set for a turn in these cars, it's very, very difficult to make any adjustments. You're kind of just on that trajectory and set, because these can be so easily upset by just any kind of corrections.
Gil Ribeiro in the 55 is being shown as your leader right now on lap number 39. He did not pit the first time around, so he is being shown as your leader. Chad Frankenfield is in second, followed by Alexander Van der Sande. Adriano Pinheiro and Nick Degroot are your top 5. I almost hate to ask, but it would be interesting to see the in-car from Tyler Fode heading into that accident.
Let's head back to the iRace Online replay and see what we can find here. I think that's going to be an absolutely wild ride. Oh, absolutely. I think we can, once again, because we can, have that peace of mind that nobody's hurt in these incidents. It's a rare opportunity to get to kind of ride with these guys, and I can tell you just from rewinding there, it's going to be an absolutely wild ride. Here we go. This is what Tyler Fode had to see and what he had to react to.
There we see Ribeiro get it, or we see Pinheiro get it. Oh, wow.
There's just zero time to react to that kind of incident, and again, it's just nonstop there for Tyler Fode, and yeah, that roll bar camera is not having a great time there.
And to quote the great Connor Daly, there's a man and he's flying.
Absolutely, yeah. This is also an interesting thing about iRacing. I mean, we love the simulation aspect about iRacing, but I have to say, some of the more extreme sides to it can certainly show in incidents, and like that's not obviously how a car is ever going to respond in an incident, and there are certain little things that it's missing, but I do know after speaking to some real drivers and their experiences, the one thing that you cannot absolutely beat on iRacing is the way the tracks are scanned. They are so real to life, and so at the very least we've got that, even if those crash mechanics aren't super realistic.
You don't have to follow the laws of physics completely when it comes to flying through the air upside down. Except that the law of gravity always wins out in the end.
Absolutely, though. I've seen some interesting situations of cars getting stuck up in the catch fence there, which has been quite. I mean, there have been some very interesting situations in iRacing where you might even disobey those laws of gravity, those basic laws of gravity.
Well, we should note that cars have gotten stuck in catch fencing in the real world, and
That's fair.
it usually does not end very well when it does happen, but it can and does happen occasionally. But fortunately, everybody walked away.
Yeah, exactly, We'll have everybody back for next week. The only thing hurt in those incidents are feelings, which I think we can survive having that happen, especially with the alternative being much worse there. But the pace car is, I think the iRacing pace car should be heading off this lap. We'll have one more pace lap under the Elite Racing League's pace car, and we'll be ready to go for racing once again. Single file restarts, and this time it'll be Gil Ribeiro leading the way back to green. We'll see just how quickly Chad Frankenfield will be able to, make his way past this driver. 27 lap old tires versus just 3 yellow flag laps here on these new cars all behind him.
And do we have any indication whether Fody is going to be able to get back into this one or not?
Tyler Fody is still showing on pit road, and he's been sitting on pit road for the past 5.5 minutes. It looks unlikely that 40 car will be restarting. I know, especially
same
these
with Viana too, right?
Same with Viana there. Yeah, you can see. Yeah, I think these Indy cars are they're even more tricky. Where even small hits can just take you out for the entire race because they're so much more difficult to fit than a lot of those stock cars, which you can honestly just take a hammer to and get them pointing relatively in the right direction once again. But we're about to head back to green, so take it away here, Mark.
As they come around to the green flag, Gil Ribeiro is your leader as we start lap number 42. The green flag is out as they head down into turn 1. Frankenfield and Van de Sant getting ready to try to split the difference here. We're going to have a Ribeiro sandwich, one going high, one going low in a second. Nope, both going low. Van de Sant moves into second. Frankenfield coming down underneath the tap, takes them both and goes into the lead.
But Van der Sant's not quite done with him yet. He's going to go to that top line and might have the run off the corner here. Look out for Alexander Van der Sant. He's going to try and lead a lap, and he does, and he just needs to clear this 15 car. These two have been having a great scrap all throughout the night so far.
Ribeiro was hanging around in the back there, and we weren't quite sure where he was going. Pinheiro almost went into Ribeiro and then thought better of it and came back down to the inside. Frankenfield moves down, takes the low line, and heads down the backstretch in the lead, followed by Van de Sant. Pinheiro and Ribeiro, and Pinheiro came across and almost took the air off of Ribeiro's nose.
Yeah, it can happen all in an instant here, and look at Pinheiro. He's been making great runs, and he's going to go for second, maybe even the lead here within the next couple of corners. He's got a huge draft up to this 15 car. First, he's got to make it past Alexander Van der Sant, and watch that exit of the corner because that's where Van der Sant and Viana came together. But there you go, Pinheiro clears into second position. He's going to chase down our leader, Chad Frankenfield.
Looking ahead to the rest of the season here, you have to look at R.C. Enerson coming in last tonight and thinking that this is not going to help him in the championship race for the entire season, except that you get to drop your worst race. So I think we know which one R.C. is going to be dropping.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is certainly going to be his drop round. As you see there, Nick Degroot makes the move on Alexander Van der Sant for the third position. But yeah, not a great night here for R.C. Enerson. Just an unfortunate night and involved in that incident there. Again, we assume it's a racing deal, especially when you consider the fact that Chad Frankenfield is still up in the field right now. It's just not how you want your season to get underway, but there's a lot of other opportunities for RC, and he certainly considers himself more of a road course ringer, so look out for the likes of next week at Long Beach, where we'd expect to see RC, certainly running up front. And honestly, no matter where we go in this season, it should be RC running near the front of the pack.
Once again, Adriano Pinheiro, who is your leader in the 12 car. Chad Frankenfield is in second. Nick Degroot has moved up into third. Van der Sant is down into fourth now. Ribeiro in fifth. Henry Bennett in sixth. Caleb Bensi, we've not called his name tonight, is in seventh. Yari Brupiker is in eighth. Brian Blauman, once again, we've not called his name tonight, In the 29 cars in ninth, and Ryan Schold in the 05 is in 10th. That's your top 10 as we head into lap 49. We do have a yellow flag.
Yeah, we do have a yellow flag. Trying to see what it was for. This 33 car was running a little bit slower on track, but we'll head over to the Irace online replay and see what exactly we can find here. Might take me a few seconds as I didn't quite see anything when that yellow flag came out there.
Yeah, there was nothing obvious, but it may have been back in the pack a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So let's take a look and see. I don't quite know here what exactly happened. And unfortunately, with just myself on cameras here tonight, it makes it a little bit trickier to find incidents where they occur on the racetrack, and not much communication with race control makes that a little bit more difficult there. So, unfortunately, unable to find the source of the wreck there. Looks like it might have been the 5 or the
Possibly
18 car.
Alec Balvance or Robert Garcia in the
Yeah,
5 and the 18. It looks like it might have involved 18 and Garcia in the 18 car.
yeah, could have possibly been here, but let's take a look. I do see some damage on that 18 car. Here we go. I think I've found it. Took me a little while here. Apologies for that delay here. Look at that blue and orange car there. Just gets loose on the top. Hits one of those cars on the bottom. I'm not sure who that was. That might have been your 5 car or your 33, and there's the damage that brought out this caution.
And let's see as it comes closer if we can get the number on that one.
This is the number 18 here of Robert Garcia.
That is Garcia in the 18.
Yeah, unsure who we made contact with there. I'm quite sure it wasn't Alec Balvance. I don't remember it being a blue car, but Joe Ribeiro possibly. Unsure exactly who made contact with that car, but back up front, we do have guys. I don't think anybody's pitted in here, and I'm not sure if pit lane is open quite yet. If it is, this could be an interesting call here. 11 laps or 12 laps here done on these tires, but these guys have a fixed number of sets here tonight. They might have used up many of them already, so I want to make sure that they're not using up all of them in case we have a late race restart.
The iRacing pace car has not come out on the track yet, or is still not picked up the field yet, so I'm presuming the pits are still closed. Adriano Pinheiro is your leader. Chad Frankenfield, Nick Degroot, Alexander Vandersant, your top 4. We're on lap 51 of 200 tonight in the Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series here on iRacing. Tonight's race is the Maconi Setup Shop Indy 300. We want to thank Maconi for sponsoring the race tonight. If you're into iRacing, look to Maconi for your setups. They have setups for 14 different cars each week at MaconiSetupShop.com. They're the only registered LLC that provides setups on the iRacing platform, the most trusted name in iRacing setups. You can follow them on Twitter at Maconi Setup Shop. Grab all of your setups by the top building team on iRacing over at MaconiSetupShop.com.
All right, well, we've got that main pace car back up in front of the field, so looks like, yeah, we're not going to have many guys pitting in here. Just 10 or so laps completed on those tires. Look a little bit further through the field here, kind of see what's going on as we bring up this the vertical ticker, which lets us see a little bit deeper there, past even the top 10 here. Some names that we haven't really spoken about too much here tonight. Ryan Schold down in 9th, Brian Blauman in 8th. Andrew Marquez in 10th. Victor Del Porto, a driver who I think has run with us in the past and been successful in the past. He's been working his way up the order. AJ Hobson, of course, has dropped down a couple of positions after he finally made his first pit stop. So a couple of names there. Look out for them because I think we'll see a lot of shifts still here, and any one of these drivers in this top 15 could certainly be involved in this lead battle. We're only 52 laps through with this race, just a quarter of the way done here. A long way to go tonight.
Well, folks, it's February 19th, and guys, if you screwed up and didn't take care of that special someone for Valentine's Day, you need to check out Richmar Florist. Serving the Lehigh Valley and beyond since 1955, Richmar Florist is one of the most recognizable floral names in the racing world. They offer delivery around the corner or around the world, and they can save your butt with a late Valentine's Day flower delivery with a simple and easy-to-use website. richmarflorist.com offers selections for any of life's special occasions.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely has to be a massive thanks to Richmar Florist and C2 Freight. Both of those guys have been on board for the entire Elite Racing Leagues for the 2021 season. I mean, what an amazing opportunity to have these guys on board with us, and they'll be our premier sponsors for the entire season long here in the IndyCar Series as well as in all of our NASCAR series. So big thanks to both of those guys for the support of the Elite Racing Leagues for the second year running now.
And we need to see if we can get a virtual wreath for the winner as the Elite Racing League pace car comes off. Pinheiro brings him down to the green flag as we start lap number 54. We are back to racing at Homestead-Miami in the Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series.
Good restart this time from Pinheiro, so Frankenfield not quite able to capitalize as we've seen him in the past on these restarts and get quite up to the back of the leader. So he's going to have a couple of laps here to really suck back into the back of the 12 car and try and go for a fight for the lead. But he's got Nick Degroot as well to worry about, who's worked his way up the order to compete in this top three here. An impressive run so far by the driver of this number 89.
And in the 15, you might think from looking at the car that it's Rob Howden driving. Nope, it's Chad Frankenfield. His car is sponsored by Road to Indy guru Rob Howden and the Rob Howden podcast. You can check that out wherever you get your podcasts. Nick Degroot in third. Now Alexander Van der Sant in fourth. Henry Bennett in fifth. Pinheiro is still our leader.
Yeah, we've got some great battles going on throughout the field. Want to go back here? This is one of our battles for 18th position between Jordan Owens and Brendan Madonia. Was hearing from some drivers that the battling going on here further back in the pack is pretty intense here. We've got one going on right here for 20th with Dylan Christie, driver in the real life Road to Indy series, trying to work his way past Shane Coogan. Right now struggling a little bit. I mean, we saw Dylan Christie with run amazingly in the Road to Indy series. Not quite got to grips here with these Indy cars quite yet here, but could also be the road course spec suits him a little bit more as well. So look out for him when we go to the likes of Long Beach. You see there further ahead, we got them side by side racing for the 18th position. Jordan Owens on the inside and Shane Coogan on the outside.
Coogan, of course, is a rookie, as is Adriano Pinheiro, our leader, making their first start in the Elite Racing League Series.
Back up to the front of the pack. I mean, you've got inside your top five, Henry Bennett going for a move on Alexander Van der Sant. On the inside here, he's going to clear that 97 car, and he's nose ahead right now. Looks like he is going to clear Van der Sant, but Van der Sant making that move around the outside, trying to get the run here. Can he make it work? Quite there, I don't think. Right now it looks advantage Henry Bennett, and I think he's finally cleared that 97 car for the fourth position. Chad Frankenfield holding off Nick Degroot further up the road as well.
Bennett with a wonderful move. Okay, but here comes Van der Sant back around. Is he going to try? He's going to take that high line coming through. Falls out of the camera shot just a little bit.
Yeah, not quite the run that Van der Sant had, so he's going to hang back. We've got a great little battle going on here as well for, is this the sixth position? Or no, excuse me, this is the seventh position. Brian Blauman versus Jari Grupiker. These two have been making solid progress up the field. I think Blauman started well outside the top 10 here, so he's been slowly working his way forward, getting more comfortable with the car. Let's see how the pace of that car fares when you compare it to him in the last lap versus the likes of Caleb Benchy, 2/10 of a second faster than a lot of the guys in front. So this 29 car running this Jordan F1 team throwback scheme.
Bauman is a rookie in the series, making his first start tonight. We have had a lot of impressive performances from the rookies so far tonight.
We have, but there's another caution flag out, and I'm afraid to say it looks like it's Jordan Owens in that number 45 car around on the back straightaway. We'll take a look at the Irace Online replay and see what happened there. We saw the close racing going on in the back, but something unfortunate here has ended the day of the driver of the number 45 car.
Here we go. Jordan Owens is in the blue 45 car. Uh-oh. Looks like
Yep.
he got collateral damage. He was trying to avoid the car right in front of him.
Yeah, there you go. And he's around.
So who was that in front of him?
It's a good question there. It might have been Carlos D'Aguiar, as he's been on pit road for some time here with some damage, and I believe it was. That looks like the right paint scheme there.
Yeah.
So Carlos D'Aguiar, Jordan Owens coming together after Aguiar gets loose coming out of turn 2, and there you go. We do have cars coming down pit
road. But who
road
came in? But who was behind? Who was behind him that launched? Let's see if we can see who did the launching there.
So it's a good question. Let's take a look and see what happened here. A couple of cars, I think, yeah, were also involved in that incident. Let's see if we can get the right camera angle on this. It can sometimes be a little bit tricky here on iRacing to do just that. So here we go. This is right at the start of the crash here. You've got Aguiar and
okay, so it was Aguiar that launched.
It was Aguiar that launched. I think it might have been Dylan Christie who was the car that spun. Yeah, it was Dylan Christie in the 22 who spun the rear wheels, and looks like he actually got away all right. It was the other cars who got caught up in the damage behind him. So there you go, and you'll notice that top 4 is very, very different to what we've seen before. The first real shift in strategy that we're seeing from drivers here tonight. Alexander van der Sant, the number 1 driver of drivers who have stayed out here without pitting on this last caution, and we go all the way back to the likes of Adriano Pinheiro and Eric Triano, who we haven't talked about too much tonight, who are drivers who are on fresh tires now. So change of strategy. We'll see how this fares out. But yeah, man, oh man, an interesting development here in this race. Lap 64 of 200, we're already seeing some changes here and some differences in how guys are planning to run this race.
Pinheiro and Frankenfield have now dropped back to 13th and 14th, followed by Degroot, Bennett in 15th and 16th, and Blauman in 17th, while Van der Sant stays, as you said, Rich, up in the lead. Caleb Bensi is second, Andrew Marquez third, Victor Del Porto in the 27 cars in fourth, and A.J. Hobson back up to fifth place now, followed by Chris Wilhite, Luis Gonzalez Nunez, Justin Fortner, Brendan Madonia, and Shane Coogan round out your top 10.
Yeah, the real question now on this next restart is just how quickly do the likes of Adriano Pinheiro and Chad Frankenfield and Nick Degroot, how quickly do those guys make it up through the field, and does this gamble to stay out by Alexander van der Sant, Caleb Benchi, Andrew Marquez, Victor Del Porto, all of these guys, how does that fare out? So again, you've got 2 different plays now, and this is going to be our chance to see which is the right play. We'd expect the pace advantage to be with those guys further back, but you're obviously having to get yourself through the traffic. So for Van der Sant, this could be a great move here, as he's got a lot of buffer space between himself and the guys on brand new tires.
The lights are out on the iRacing pace car, so we'll have at least one more lap behind the elite pace car.
Yeah, one more lap here to go. That Corvette C8 will lead that field around one more time after this lap here. We'll get them all single filed out and ready to go for an interesting restart. Again, just running lap 65 here. These cautions are coming a little bit fast and heavy right now early in this race. I'm hoping for a long run to come in pretty soon, but I can guarantee you the guys running in that top 10 right now are certainly hoping that we don't have a long run, hoping that we get maybe another 15 laps here, put the other drivers who just pitted in a disadvantaged state before they shift that advantage back in their favor. But man, oh man, I think we need a long run here if we're going to make it to lap 200 within a reasonable amount of time tonight, already an hour into this broadcast.
And the pace car for the iRacing pace car is off the track now. We will come back around. Don't forget to join us next Friday night, same time, 7:30 Eastern Time. We will have the Race vs. Long Beach Grand Prix from the virtual streets of Long Beach.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see the Indy cars here at Long Beach. It's going to be just great racing. I mean, we saw in the Road to Indy series when we had Will Power show up and race there, and he dominated race 1, but But yeah, I mean, Long Beach is just it's a classic on the IndyCar calendar. It's so great that iRacing has finally added that fully to the game, and yeah, I can't wait to watch as the cars go around the fountain. So many things to look forward to next week. You absolutely have to tune in to that race. It's going to be one heck of a ride.
I'm looking at the entire schedule here, and I'm counting at least 4 tracks on the schedule that the real-life IndyCars don't go to. We are now back to green. Van der Zandt leading them down into turn 1, followed by Caleb Bency about half a second back. Andrew Marquez, Victor Del Puerto, and A.J. Hobson. Round out your top 5. Van der Zandt pulling away down the backstretch up to about almost a... Well, let me correct myself, because Bency has been moving up a little bit, now about 0.2 of a second back.
Yeah, let's see. These two seem to be teammates here. I mean, very similarly painted cars, and here we go. Bency closing up very closely to the back of Alexander Van der Zandt. Here's your battle for the lead of this race and what it looks like right now. Meanwhile, the guys who pitted, Chad Frankenfield, Adriano Pinheiro, up to 12th and 13th respectively, but not the forward momentum that they might have been hoping. You can see it's just a pretty spread out field we've got here as you're looking through the gearbox of Caleb Bency there off of that last view.
Marquez in third in 87 in the clone of the DHL Andretti car with Wawa livery.
Yeah, great little. I really enjoy that livery. It's a unique one and it stands out. Though we've actually got quite a few yellow cars on the grid here during this race, which is not something you get to say too often, especially in real life racing. Not too many teams are willing to go with some pretty crazy schemes. The only ones that really come to mind are, of course, the Elio Castroneves, the Sealmaster, and the Ryan Hunter race schemes. And of course, Simon Pageant.
Yeah, and Marquez, we know where he's getting his coffee in the morning.
Absolutely. It's yeah, here we go. We'll see who's doing a good job here, running solidly in third position here. 32 laps again on these tires. A lot of laps for these guys to be running. Again, 8 versus the 8 laps of the likes of Adriano Pinheiro, but he's still running in 12th position. He hasn't made much forward progress that we'd expect to see from guys with 30-lap fresher tires.
But we will see, hopefully, for Pinheiro, these guys are going to have to stop fairly soon. It has been 30-plus laps since they stopped for fuel.
Absolutely, and yeah, here we go. We're starting to see some moves being made, and it might be slow and steady work as Pinheiro gets past Gil Ribeiro, but yeah, I'm not quite sure what the fuel run looks like on these cars. It's a 1.5-mile racetrack. And with that in mind, I mean, you typically will run. It's really, really tricky for me to, I guess just kind of eyeball what fuel runs should be like. I'd expect maybe 45, 50 laps. So it could be coming up here pretty soon. Like I said, I think the goal for the guys in the front, they want to run maybe 15, 20 laps here, basically to the end of this fuel run, where they'll still have that track position, and everybody should need to pit here to get fresh tires. So that's right now where you want to see the advantage if you're one of the guys in front.
And Bency has moved up into the lead now, passing Van der Zandt with about a 0.2 of a second lead. Marquez still in third, Del Porto in fourth, Chris Wilhite in fifth.
Yeah, for sure. And here we go. We've got Shane Coogan right now fighting with Brendan Madonia here for this 9th position. Shane Coogan trying for that inside line. He's going to clear up right to the back of that car, and a great view at the nose cam. And once again, here we go. Shane Coogan going for a move on the inside line. Can he make it stick here? These guys going side by side should be holding them up a little bit and allowing Adriano Pinheiro to close in a little bit. But right now, still a pretty significant get back to that 12th car, and Shane Coogan not quite able to make the move for 9th.
That's a pretty brave move for a rookie in this series. Racing IndyCars for the first time in elite racing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of new names and faces here, at least for me to see throughout this grid, and it's impressive to see just how much the series has really grown. I mean, especially when you go outside of the Indy 500. We've had great numbers always for the Indy 500, but the regular series not always quite as much. But definitely look forward to that Indy 500 coming up in a few months' time, because that's going to be a crazy bump day event, and we'll be bringing you that action all right here on the Elite Racing Network. This entire season covered here by myself, Rishav Khosla, and Mark Gillespie. I mean, just so much action, so many opportunities for guys to win, and so many different racetracks to try their hands at, going from tracks like this, 1.5 milers, to the massive super speedway at Indianapolis, to the likes of the street course at Long Beach, to the road course at Mid-Ohio, to small mile-long racetracks at Milwaukee. I mean, we are hitting every single track type here. This is really what the IndyCar Series calendar looked like just a couple of years ago. I think, especially with the way they've been shrinking the number of ovals that they visit each year, it's unfortunate in my eyes, because I loved seeing the diversity of the calendar in IndyCar.
And of course, they're racing here in iRacing at Michigan and Phoenix, along with here at Homestead, where the IndyCar Series no longer goes. I would love to see Michigan get back on the schedule, and the Phoenix races deserved a little more love than they got from the fans in the Phoenix area, but it would have been good to have seen the return to Phoenix work out a few years ago. Caleb Benchy, still your leader as we complete lap number 80. In just a second here, we're getting closer to the halfway point tonight.
Yeah, closer, slowly but surely here we're getting here as they're finishing up lap 80 right now, and we're kind of in this single-filed stage. A little bit of, you can see guys running different lines, but not too much attacking really going on here. Though Nick Degroot versus Adriano Pinheiro might be one of the better battles we're seeing here on track, as Degroot goes for an inside move, and let's take a look and see if he can make that work, and he does. So Nick Degroot now is the leader of the drivers who he is the leader of the drivers who pitted in on that last caution flag. So right now he's got that lead in that sense. But Caleb Benchy right now so much further up the road, 5 seconds up the road on Nick Degroot and Adriano Pinheiro. So that pit stop right now not really faring too well for these guys. They're hoping for a very long run here, where everyone in front is going to have to make a pit stop.
We should be seeing those pit stops in probably the next 5 to 7 laps, I would believe, for the lead pack.
Yeah, you'd probably expect that. They're 44 laps into these runs here up front. It's been a long time since a lot of these cars have seen pit road, so they're going to be either hoping for a caution or something to make sure they don't go a lap down when they bring those cars down pit road. And this will also be a lot of these guys' first time experiencing a green flag pit stop here in the Elite Racing Leagues, having to use that tricky apron section here at Homestead-Miami Speedway that's well inside the racetrack. You're not able to just dive off last minute, I don't believe. So a lot of different things that these guys are going to have to get used to if they are green flag pit stops. And slowing these cars down from about 220 miles an hour down to 50 miles an hour, just pit road speed limiter, is going to be another major challenge.
That's why these guys paid the big bucks.
Absolutely, they.
Sorry, I couldn't resist. Benchy, Van der Zandt, Marquez, and Del Porto, your top 4. We are now on lap 85 out of 200 tonight on the 1.5 mile at Homestead-Miami. And we've got an incident.
That's
involved. That's Benchy, it looks like. I know that.
It is Caleb Benchy, but he's just stationary on the racetrack. He just grinds to a halt. Unsure what happened there, but
that's not even a netcode issue.
Yeah, I don't think that's a network issue. I don't think that's anything. It's just that 21 car has stopped and he's going down 1 lap. Excuse me.
He is off the racing line, so they have not thrown the caution flag yet. But Van der Zandt has moved into the lead. Marquez, Del Porto, and Chris Wilhite, your top 4.
What a strange situation there with that 21 car. Yeah, just no issues at all.
Do we have a replay to see if we can figure out what happened there?
Yeah, we could potentially take a look, though. It didn't even look like he got hit, and he's actually still shown on the side of the racetrack. Looks like it might have just been he just ground to a halt. Let's see if we can roll back enough laps here to see what on earth happened to this 21 car. Here we go. So this is that 21 car. You can see starts slowing down a little bit on this bottom line here, or seems to actually be up to pace, and then just very aggressively comes to a halt.
Boom.
Yeah. Locks up
The
tires and stationary.
The virtual engine went kablamo.
Potentially, maybe the engine went. That could be potentially what happened there, though. That looked like it happened later, and that might have been brake smoke from the tires, or tire smoke from them locking up. But difficult to tell here. Maybe an engine failure there for Caleb Benchy. That would be brutal if that is the case.
Yeah, you very rarely see mechanical failures in iRacing, but they can happen.
Oh, they absolutely can, and yeah, I mean it's heartbreaking when it does happen, just because of how rare it is, and the kind of extraneous circumstances that need to occur for your engine to fail in a game where you should theoretically have 100% engine reliability. On screen, we've got.
I can see that happening on a road course if somebody messes up a shift and cooks the engine, but on an oval, they're pretty much going flat out all the way around.
Yeah, for sure, and I know a lot of these cars actually have protections built into their shifters where they won't let you downshift if you're in a red range, especially these Indy cars. So yeah, that's a tricky one, and it might just be. I mean, it's funny we talk about it. It is of course virtual racing, but potentially the real world interfered, and Caleb Benchy had to go run and take care of something in his house. Of course, you can't be driving a car on iRacing and dealing with other things in the real world quite at the same time. So potentially something happening over there.
There may have been a dog running between the steering wheel and the screen.
Absolutely.
Something along those lines. But Van der Sant, your leader on lap 92, Marquez, Del Porto, and Chris Wilhite. We are still looking, and Pinheiro has moved up to 8th now. Frankenfield still stuck back in 12th position among the cars that have. And Nick Degroot has moved up into 9th. Henry Bennett is still down in 14th. Eric Troiano in 15th. Brian Blauman in 16th. And Tristan Wood in 17th among that group that have already made the third stop. That are still waiting for these lead drivers to hit the pits at some point soon.
Yeah, let's see. Oh man, how many laps have these guys done now? It should be coming up towards mid-50s now. Yeah, 55 laps completed for the likes of Alexander Van der Sant, who's leading this race right now, and your top 7 effectively are all 55 laps into this run. They must be running on fumes right now.
You should note that Benchy is moving again. He's being shown as 4 laps down, but he is back up to speed again.
Yeah, he is. So back in this race is Caleb Benchy, which, yeah, that's such a strange situation. But once again, thankfully, off the racing line didn't bring us to a caution flag. So no major changes in the race there, other than just Caleb Benchy's chances for a win disappearing and going up in the smoke that came off either his engine or his tires there.
We are starting lap 96 now. Alexander Van der Sant, still your leader with about a 0.3 of a second lead over Andrew Marquez. Victor Del Porto in 3rd. Chris Wilhite 4th. A.J. Hobson 5th.
Yeah, your battle for 5th here is pretty close here, as I think A.J. Hobson just completely lost that lead to Shane Coogan. As I think, here we go, this is our first pitter as A.J. Hobson off the throttle and onto pit road. He's on that, and yep. A.J. Hobson looks like Jill Ribeiro, or excuse me, no, A.J. Hobson is the. Yep. So we've got
Nick Degroot is in also.
Nick Degroot is he's still out on track. He's
okay.
He was one of the guys who pitted on that last caution.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that was the first of our guys to come in down pit road. So who didn't pit on that last restart. So here we go. This is gonna probably start a train of cars coming in within the next couple of laps, and it looks like we're gonna see this 97 car start slowing down off the corner. Maybe, I don't know if that's just the view. And yeah, here we go.
Coming down.
97 car is slowing down. He's coming onto pit road. I believe Andrew Marquez in the 87 will be following him. He is.
Yep.
Del Porto is. Chris Wilhite is. I think all of these guys have run it to the very last lap. And for Adriano, Pinheiro, and Nick Degroot, it's now clear skies in front of them. They've got the first 2 positions.
Frankenfield is now up to 3rd. Ribeiro in 4th. Henry Bennett back to 5th place. Troiano 6th. Tristan Wood in 7th. Lauman 8th. Yari Brubaker in 9th. And Alexander Rigon is in 10th. Actually, Schold has now passed Rigon. They're trading places back and forth for 10th in a battle for 10th. But Pinheiro is back up to start lap 98 right now. Or actually lap 99 of 200. with a solid lead of about half a second over Nick Degroot and a clear track ahead of him.
Yep, and we're coming up as he crosses the lines this time. It'll be the halfway point of this race, 100 laps complete. And this has been a nice little green flag run we've got going on here, about 40 laps or so. And here we go. Yep, Adriano Pinheiro leads at the halfway point, and now he's got just 100 more laps to go to try and bring that car over to victory lane. But Nick Degroot, Chad Frankenfield, Joe Ribeiro, and Henry Bennett, all that top five, all those guys will have something to say about that. And don't count out anybody else, especially if we get some other cautions here later in the race.
Pinheiro's probably thinking, we're only halfway through.
Yeah, that's one of the challenges about these IndyCar races is, first of all, these cars are extremely physical, especially compared to the stock cars. But to build onto that, I mean, we run full-distance races, or what would be full-distance races if these were real events or based off of real events. I mean, when they ran here at Homestead-Miami Speedway back in real life, I believe this was a 200-lap event as well. So, I mean, it's really a huge focus on endurance. So you can have that pace, like we saw from many drivers early on, but and like we've seen from a lot of these guys early on, but you could lose a lot of that as the race goes on if you can't maintain that pace throughout the course of 200 laps or 300 miles.
Pinheiro has been extremely smooth. He hasn't put a wheel wrong yet in 12 car. Nick Degroot is about a second and a half behind in the 89, followed by Frankenfield, Ribeiro, and Bennett.
Yeah, pretty spread out now within that top 10. You got a second and a half, almost a second and a half, second and a half, second. This is really, we're starting to get to one of the closer battles on the field. It's going to be a battle actually for 8th and 9th position. It's going to be between Yari Brippiker and Ryan Schold. Ryan Schold, I believe that's actually a lap car behind, but Yari, you can see with the yellow wheels in front, that might actually be a car unlapping himself there. I'm trying to see who that might be. That could be, that's not Marquez.
That might be D'Aguilar.
That's Gonzalez Nunez, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
He's just unlapped himself from a couple of these cars further up the road, but he's got a long way to go to unlap himself from the leaders. I'm not sure if we're running a lucky dog situation like we would in the NASCAR events.
No, we have not, because we hadn't seen anybody do wave arounds during the first couple of yells.
Yeah. So you really
this
need to
is
make
IndyCar.
Sure.
We don't need no lucky dogs.
Exactly. It's nice to come back to some of the rules of IndyCar, which just make a little bit more sense to me, if I'm being honest, and I can safely say that on these broadcasts.
Once.
Exactly. I think the stage racing, the playoffs, they all add an interesting element to the racing for sure, but this is just straight up whoever is fastest wins the race, and whoever keeps that car on the lead lap, even if there's a caution, you're not getting that lap back unless you do something pretty clever underneath that caution.
And strategy counts, and we haven't, it's going to be interesting to talk to a couple of drivers after the race and see how the manual controls work out for the weight jackers and the roll bars.
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be really interesting, and again, a learning experience for these guys that they won't have those tools available to them next week at the road course, which could potentially help or hurt them. But then, of course, you're going to get back into it once we get back into some of the other oval tracks that we're going to be visiting here on the calendar. So different cars that these guys are driving here with different specs, and here we go. You've got that 75 car. That's Shane Coogan now unlapping himself on the 05 of Ryan Schold.
But will we have push to pass next week at Long Beach?
Good question. I think we would, because the real-life IndyCar still uses push to pass, if I'm correct. Which I believe these are still modeled after the very latest IndyCars, as they've got that aero screen on board.
Right.
So they are based off the 2020 model IndyCars.
But the question is, do all the rigs have a push to pass button available?
So that's certainly something drivers are going to have to remember, to map those buttons to their wheels, because that's something that you don't always have, especially if you're more familiar with oval racing. That push to pass is such a useful feature. on those road courses where you really, I mean, it can be crucial to overtake, especially when you talk about a street course like Long Beach, where there aren't a ton of overtaking opportunities. I think Long Beach gives some more opportunities than some others, than other road courses that exist, or excuse me, street courses that exist. But at the end of the day, you're still not going to see anywhere near as many overtakes at Long Beach as you will at a track like Homestead-Miami Speedway. Up inside the top 10, I mean, it's still a very spread out field right now, and we're getting into that kind of long run lull that you almost get during some of these races here. Some of the closer battles on the field are, here we go. I mean, Jari Brubaker, is bringing his car in 49 laps into the run, so maybe a little bit early, but we could be seeing green flag pit stops coming within the next 5 to 7 laps here, with this 88 car kind of kicking that off right there. So that could be the next big interest point that'll shake up this field once again and probably put those guys who just pitted recently back up at the front of the field. So we're going to keep seeing that teeter back and forth.
Interesting to watch here as Pinheiro comes down to start lap 115. When you have a red livery and black numbers on top of red, it is hard to see exactly what the number is, even in that area.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult. You don't have those massive numbers on the side of the cars. You don't have those massive body panels to work with.
Or a spotter's guide.
Or a spotter's guide, exactly. We're gonna have to potentially compile one of those, but also with no major sponsor obligations for a lot of these drivers, it's a little bit tricky to put one together, because we can see these paint schemes change just about every week.
I believe this is, well, was that Blauman or Smith? Because we're starting to see more of the drivers come back through the lineup now. Hunter Smith in the 80 car has moved into the lead. Joe McAdory in the 16, followed by Blauman in the 29. Tom Miles, or actually Van der Sant, is moving back up into third now.
Yeah, so here we go. We're going to start seeing the likes of Marquez, Van der Sant back up towards the front of the pack, and there's Pinheiro coming off of pit road. A lot of these guys are all going to be going down a couple of positions here. Hunter Smith, Joe McAdory, both not on pit road, but there you see Hunter Smith and now Joe McAdory both make their way onto pit road. So Alexander Van der Sant should inherit the lead once again, and there we go. Van der Sant leads from Marquez from Chris Wilhite. So those guys who stayed out on the last caution and who had to pit first under green flag are back in the lead of this race.
We are on lap 117 tonight in the Maconi Setup Shop Indy 300. Alexander Van der Sant is your leader, followed by Andrew Marquez. Chris Wilhite, Luis Gonzalez Nunez, and Adriano Pinheiro, who led most of the race tonight, is running in 5th place. Shane Coogan 6th, Chad Frankenfield 7th, Justin Fortner 8th, Henry Bennett 9th, and A.J. Hobson in 10th. I'm Mark Gillespie along with Rishav Kozla. We are tonight at virtual Homestead-Miami Speedway in the initial race of the 2021A season for the at Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series.
Yeah, so now this is going to be, again, things are going to get pretty interesting, where you've got the likes of Nick Degroot, Chad Frankenfield, I have to say, and Pinheiro both had fantastic in and out laps. Pinheiro is still running in the 4th position here, 6 seconds behind Alexander Van der Sant. So he's made a huge amount of progress on those leaders, and now he's got about, 20 lap fresher tires? It is about 15 lap fresher tires, so look out for this 12 car. He's been putting on a show right now and conserved those tires and kept the pace really well on the in and out laps here. Still running P4 despite just coming down pit road. So right now this 12 car is the one who's impressing me the most in the field.
Right now we are looking at probably at least 2 more pit stops for most of the field to get through to the finish.
Most likely seems to be that will be the case. Potentially just 1 stop for the guys who just pitted here on this last lap. For the guys who pitted around the lap 100 mark, they're definitely going to have to make 1 more stop here, or potentially 2 more stops. though we might just be looking at a single stop here before we get to the finish line.
It depends on how well the tires hold up, too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the track temperature. I mean, we've been running here pretty much under the lights all night long, so no really different situations regarding track temperatures, or none that we would expect. But if track temperatures are getting cooler, that does make it easier for these drivers to save these tires. Up front, we've got a battle for the lead between Van der Sant and Marquez. Both of these guys have been leading for, or have been 1-2 for considerable margin of this pack of drivers that haven't, or again, that are kind of on this off strategy, who stayed out on that last caution here. So let's take a look and enjoy this little battle that we've got going on here between the two drivers.
If we can pick up Marquez's in-car, that would be fun to watch.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at it. Here's Van der Sant. Here we go. This is on board with Andrew Marquez as he chases down our lead.
I believe that's lapped traffic up ahead.
It should be, yeah. So this first car right in front it was the leader of the race. This is the close battle we've got going on here up towards the front.
A little over 0.3 of a second lead for Van der Sant over Marquez. Getting a little closer in the corner.
You can see here that, like, Marquez just trying out those different lines, trying to get that front nose out of the wake of Alexander Van der Sant's car, and that's just to get some air onto the front nose, get some downforce onto that front wing, and get the car to turn in so that he can really point it out of the corner in exactly where he wants to be. And you can see here he's got a run on Van der Sant. He's going to decide better of making or going for a loop here, but he's now going to go for this really high line, try and get a great run here again. Uses a clear line, and he's going to try and get the run off of this high line.
Okay, looks like he's going to come down next time around and make that move coming out the next run, out of the next corner.
He fell back a little bit.
Not going to make it. Yeah, Van der Sant, he backed out a little bit.
So yeah, it'll take a couple of laps here for him to get back up there, but he has a great launch off of turn 4. Needs to just be a little bit closer when he gets that launch made. So needs to focus on his exit of turn 2. To be right there when they get to that part of the racetrack, and he did have a good run there on that back straightaway. We'll see if he's able to get to the back of Alexander Van der Sant.
About 0.28 of a second back. Okay, he's down to 1,800. Okay, running right around 0.2 of a second behind. Bouncing around just a little bit there. Will Height in the 7 car in third place has not been able to get anywhere up closer to these leaders.
Yeah, he's struggled to really make much headroom here. It's 1.9 seconds, almost 2 seconds back for Chris Wilhite. So it really is just a two-way fight right now between these two leaders. Adriano Pinheiro 1.2 seconds back from Wilhite before he gets himself back into the top 3 here. You can see him there in your top 4 screen at the top of your picture, but he's also got some work. I mean, he's yeah, there you go, 3.2 seconds behind these leaders. He's got some work to do to make his way back up. But yeah, I mean, the guys who pitted recently are pretty spread out throughout the field. Pinheiro up in 4th, but then Frankenfield down in 7th, Bennett in 8th, and Degroot in 9th. Tristan Wood in 11th. So definitely there's a pretty big spread. And I mean, AJ Hobson has only been down pit road twice so far tonight. And is still running P13, so a big shout out there to the driver of number 41.
I don't know what he's got for extra fuel somewhere, but whatever he's doing it right.
Oh, absolutely, he's doing an amazing job here, and yeah, I mean, we'll see how this run turns out for that 41 car.
Never did hear what happened with Leandro Juncos and why he dropped out. Could be. And Caleb Benchy has made up at least one of his laps that he lost when he had some issues. He's now being shown as 3 laps down.
Exactly. Caleb Benchy trying to make any kind of progress back. Strange circumstances saw him stop on the side of the road. Very strange incident there. But we got a close battle going on.
Frankenfield taking that high line all the way around the corner. And it's keeping him out in front of Coogan. Coogan may be able to get ahead here because Frankenfield is tied up behind another car. Okay. And that way he could jump into the lead if the other cars have to pit on the yellow. He also may be holding pace just to try to stay his tires until he really needs to make that move too.
Absolutely, it could be a lot of that time difference could be made up on the in and out laps. So when they go to green flag pit stops, if Marquez stays out or pits in 1 lap earlier or later than the likes of Van der Sant, that can make all the difference.
We are in that stretch of the race where everybody's just holding position and waiting for the last 20 laps or so to start making the move.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little bit stagnant. We get those portions in these races, especially once things start getting into these long runs here. Everyone kind of settles into their own pace and their own race. I mean, everyone really separated by a second. Not too many close battles in the field right now. We've got a battle here for 14th position between Brendan Bedonia and Ryan Scholl. Some smooth there offline. I'm not sure if that was a net code situation or if we had a car off that didn't bring out the caution.
Later on, Rich and I will be picking our KNP Graphics paint of the race and the paint design we like the most. And I've got to admit, the Andrew Marquez yellow and red paint job is kind of striking me as a winner tonight. But willing to look at some other options.
We've got, actually, it looks like the caution flag has come out here. Unbeknownst to us, that's a strange situation, as timing and scoring did not show that caution appear.
Yeah.
But there it is. It finally shows up, and we've got cars on pit road. Once again, no sign of what caused that incident.
Yeah.
Strange situation. I did notice cars slowing down. I wasn't quite sure what that was, but yeah, here we go. All of these guys down onto pit road now, and again, this really benefits the likes of Van der Sant and Marquez, who were leading when that came out, because everyone is now going to be on equal tire strategy and fuel strategy to make it to the end of this race.
We are on lap 145 out of 200. There goes Marquez away.
Ooh,
Ribeiro.
He loses it out to Pinheiro. No, he beats Pinheiro off of pit road, so Marquez will remain in second position effectively, but Joe Ribeiro and Hunter Smith both decide to stay out here with an interesting call, a very interesting call. So those guys will go around for one more lap or take this restart, and Alexander Van der Sant will be the first of the drivers with fresh tires to restart.
We still don't know what caused that yellow to begin with in the first place.
Unfortunately not. I'm trying to dig through here, see if I can spot anything, but very, very tricky to tell.
Hunter Smith in the 80 is being shown as your leader right now. He did not pit during this caution. Van der Sant is in second. Pinheiro is up to third. Andrew Marquez is in fourth. Chris Wilhite in fifth. Chad Frankenfield in sixth right now. We are on lap 146 out of 200.
So yeah, this is really going to be the last run to the checkered flag here. We don't expect to see guys taking. They might have one set of tires left in the bank in case we have a late race caution. But a reminder, once again, in these races, we don't have green, white checkers or anything quite like that. So you run the race distance that's prescribed for you, so 200 laps. Whenever we hit lap 200, whether it's under green or yellow, that will be the end of the race. So so you're not aiming for a green, white checker finish or to do well on one. You're just trying to make it to lap 200.
I guess it would not be cool to give the KNP graphics paint of the race to the pace car for the Elite Racing League, would it?
I'm not quite sure how that would fare. It is a great looking car, as we can switch over to Ethan Reisner there in that great black and green racing car, Elite Racing League's sponsored pace car. But
just because you can doesn't mean we should.
Exactly. I'm inclined to agree with you on that Andrew Marquez car. It stands out certainly, and it's a basic livery, but you can certainly tell who it is once you're seeing it now, and obviously we're getting used to liveries here up in the booth, but now whenever I see that red and yellow car, I know instantly that that's Andrew Marquez, and it's an iconic livery to be working with. So I'm happy to give the KNP graphics paint of the race to the driver of the number 87.
Same here, because let's encourage these guys and give us something we can see as a livery, so we can see the numbers.
Exactly. We want to see different liveries here. Nothing too dark. I think the lighter colors actually probably work a little bit better for us to see those numbers. So
yeah, come on, guys. We're racing at night here, for crying out loud. Give us the chance to see your cars and your sponsors.
So yeah, big shout out there to Andrew Marquez. A very basic livery, but a very beautiful one and easy to spot from up here in the booth. We're big fans of that here, especially as we're getting up to speed.
Let's see how fast it takes Van der Sant to swallow up Hunter Smith and get back into the lead once we get back to green here.
Yeah, the driver I'm going to be looking at, though, is Pinheiro. Now, he's on the same strategy as Van der Sant, and, I mean, he's been ridiculously quick here so far this race, and he's now back within a very realistic shot of taking away that lead from these drivers. So This 12th car, I think Vanderstant holds a chance or stands a chance to hold him off, but he's going to need to do some stout defending for the next 50 or so laps. Getting ready to go back to green flag racing here. The pace car is
pace car is off. Go ahead.
Pace car is going to peel off, and there you see the 80 car straight away with a jump on Alexander Vanderstant. But how quickly can this 97 car get to the back of him? Not quite able to here at turn 1. Vandersant's going to have to rely on just getting that pull around the corner, but there you can see the advantage of fresh tires. The run is with that 97 car. He's going to look to the inside probably on this 80. No, he's not. He's going to stay smart here before making any kind of crazy moves, but he needs to move fast before Adriano Pinheiro gets to the back of his car. Here we go. Once again, he's got the run on this 80 car in front, and Vanderstant goes to the top side to try and make a pass for the lead. He's not quite going to get there and actually is under attack by Pinheiro, who might be going for second.
Pinheiro comes down, takes the low line as we head down into turn 3. He is going to pass Vanderstant, take over second place. Briefly, and now Vanderstant comes around and takes it coming out onto the main stretch.
As the caution
Pinheiro
flag
looks like he had a problem there, and the caution light is out.
Yep, caution flag out. Looks like it was the 29 car of Brian Blauman is around, and we just caught the end of it. We'll head over to the Irace Online replay and see what happened to this 29 car.
If you need a sim rig, look at Irace Online. They engineer, configure, install, and support turnkey full motion driver sims. They work with iRacing, Fanatec, Ricmotech, and SimGear. To learn more about their marketing and partnership opportunities in esports, contact or visit them at irace.online. That's irace.online. We want to thank them for sponsoring our online replays. Go for it, Rish.
Actually, turns out it wasn't that 29 car as I thought it was.
Okay.
I saw him running slowly towards the back of the field, but as I'm continuing to rewatch some replays here and try and find this, I'm not seeing anything wrong here with the pictures that I'm seeing. Caution flag is out at this point, and there are no cars stopped on the racetrack that are showing up on my my timing and scoring. So
interesting,
strange situation once again, and I apologize. Unfortunately, with our timing and scoring system that we've got, as we go back to live pictures here, at some racetracks it doesn't quite seem to sync super well when we go racing, and results in ultimately I'm reliant on a track map to kind of figure out where incidents occur, but on some racetracks you can't have the track map just doesn't appear, and unfortunately Homestead-Miami appears to be one of those racetracks that occurs. So apologies there once again, unable to find the source of that caution, but we are under a yellow flag for, I believe, the 5th time or 6th time this race here.
What a virtual debris caution. Pixels on the track.
Exactly. We'll call it something like that. Debris caution, something out there that's got these guys back down to a slow pace here. I don't expect to see anybody coming down pit road once again. They just came down, so expect this to be just a couple of laps of going around here, and then hopefully we should be back to some green flag action. And I'm going to keep a closer eye on the timing and scoring charts to try and catch any cautions that might come out the next time, but it can certainly be tricky to find any of these. It may have been the 0-5 of Ryan Schuld as I continue to look at timing and scoring, and we could, as we're waiting for this caution to finish.
As well in the 51.
Potentially. I'm going to use this chance here as we're rolling around under caution here to try and see if I can find something else here, as I'm seeing cars that are sitting on pit road and have been for a little while. See if those guys were involved in that last incident. Let's take a look at Nunez. Doesn't look like it was Ryan Schuld.
While you're doing that, let's do a shout out to our sponsors at C2 Freight Resources. They offer electronic data interchange services, which let shippers keep close electronic tabs on their shipments throughout the freight movement process. For more information about EDI services or to discuss your needs for other specialized services, visit and contact C2 Freight Resources. We also want to give our shout out and thanks to the folks at Richmar Florist. They are proud partners with Pocono Raceway, Dover Speedway, and drivers across all 3 series of NASCAR. One of the most recognizable floral names in the racing world. They offer delivery around the corner or around the world. Support the family-owned company who supports your favorite sport virtually and at the real-world track. Call or order online today, richmarflorists.com or richmarflorist, no S on the end, .com.
So unfortunately, we continue to search for the cause of this caution and just absolutely cannot find anybody. The cars that are on pit road right now with damage are the 51 and the 05 of Luis Gonzalez Nunez and Ryan Schold. But when the caution flag came out, both cars were pointed in the correct direction, and nobody else around them seems to have been involved in any incident. It's a strange situation here, and I clicked up and down through this pack, and as far as I could tell, we've got no cars.
It's okay. It's a debris. It's a virtual debris. Shock debris has caused the caution.
There we go.
Let's see. Is that Hunter Smith hitting the pits?
It is. Hunter Smith makes the call to come down pit road. We would expect this here, as he's already finished 37 laps on those tires. He was going to have to make another pit stop nonetheless, so this is the right time to do it. He's got that one extra lap here, so Hunter Smith makes the call to come down pit road. He will stay on this lead lap, and he'll be probably the last car on the lead lap. But Alexander Vandersand retakes the lead then, and we'll get ready to go back to green flag racing here fairly soon.
Pinheiro, who has moved into second, Marquez is third, Coogan fourth, Will Height fifth, Henry Bennett sixth, Tristan Wood seventh, Yari Brupaker in eighth, Nick Degroot ninth, and Justin Fortner is in 10th. And something may have happened with Chad Frankenfield because he has dropped back to 16th place.
Yeah, Frankenfield with an extra pit stop there than everybody else. It looks like he actually just came down under this caution for tires and fuel. So Chad Frankenfield going for maybe a quick top off or maybe even a new set of tires to try and give himself as much of an advantage over the rest of the field as possible. So a strategy call there from the 15 car. Here we go. We're back to green flag racing as the pace car is off. Alexander Vandersand leads the way, but he's got Adriano Pinheiro breathing down his neck. A good restart, though, from the 97. It's going to take a few seconds here for this 12 car to draft back up to his back, but here we go. We've already got this battle going on, and don't count out the likes of Andrew Marquez in third position right now, but Adriano Pinheiro has been extremely impressive all night long, and he's got a shot at the lead once again.
Pinheiro going to make a move at some point here, trying to get back up onto Vandersand's back bumper. Getting up, tucking under that back wing. He's looking, going to hold out, heads down towards the line, but Pinheiro it's cut off by Vandersand.
Let's see what we can. Yeah, not quite able to close in here. We're seeing a battle, but I mean, you look further back, and these guys are running side by side, going for this top five. These top five positions. Shane Coogan right now defending from Henry Bennett. You've got Chris Wilhite, Nick Degroot going side by side. Tristan Wood going side by side with them as well. Just some great battling. Here you go, a three-way scrap between Tristan Wood, Chris Wilhite, and Nick Degroot. Or excuse me, Tristan Wood, Chris Wilhite, Nick Degroot, and Yari Brupaker joining in that fight. Here we go. He's going to try and go up the racetrack, but he decides better of it because he's got a car to his inside. So smart racing there by these guys. Close racing, but they all make it out of that nice and safely.
I'm giving Brupaker our honorable mention on the KNP graphics of the night for those yellow tires. It makes it real easy to tell who he is.
Absolutely. There you see them once again. Just so easy to spot there. And yeah, again, I'm liking these neon colors or these bright colors. It just makes it super easy for us up here in the booth, especially for nighttime racing to spot these cars.
I mean, Homestead has lights, yes, but they're not that great.
It is still noticeably dark out on the racetrack, and or at least in the air. So It certainly gives a nice atmosphere, I'm sure, for the night racing, and will never, knock night racing. But we've got another caution flag, and this time I do see the 09 car is slow on the racetrack. That car is
That's Mark Rebelis.
It is Mark Rebelis. He is the slowest car on the track. Let's take a look.
And he's lost his front wing.
He has lost his front wing, so that would explain most likely where this caution flag came out. And yes, I did. Took me a couple of tries here and took me a couple of missed opportunities, but we did find the source of a caution flag, ladies and gentlemen. So here's your iRace Online replay. We'll watch as Mark Rebelis here in this number 09 car. Looks like he might have just gotten a little bit high off the corner and gets knocked.
He got help on that one.
He got knocked by, I think that was, difficult to tell who that was. It was a white car. Might have been Joe McAddery in the 16, and the side of that front wing then knocked off on the 09. Let's take a look. Ooh, it might have been here we go. Alexander Regon. He's actually got the exact same sponsor and paint scheme as our second place driver, Adriano Pinheiro. So that was why I was a little bit confused, because I thought it was Pinheiro at first when I saw a white car going past, but I knew those two weren't close on track.
And pit row is getting full.
It is, yeah. We're seeing a lot of guys coming down pit road, mostly behind or past the top 10. Nobody within that top 10 has decided to pit in, so everybody up front right now, we've got on 10 to 18 lap old tires or so. Beyond the top 15 is where we're seeing everybody coming in and pitting for new tires.
Van de Zandt, Pinheiro, Andrew Marquez, Shane Coogan, Nick Degroot, still your top 5. Henry Bennett, Chris Wilhite, Tristan Wood, Jari Brubaker, and Justin Fortner are your second 5. That's your top 10 in the at Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series. The Maconi Setup Shop Indy 300 tonight at virtual Homestead-Miami Speedway.
Yeah, and what great racing we've seen here tonight to kick off this season. There have been some lulls in the action, but you expect to see that when you've got the long runs that we had earlier in this race. But I mean, during these short runs, man, oh man, these guys are aggressive, going side by side, and we've got 2, maybe even 3 lanes here available to us when drivers get the runs. With how much draft you get from the aerodynamics of these cars. So right now, some great wheel to wheel racing so far tonight, and it's been great to call it up here in the booth.
And nobody's been able to pull away either. It's been good, consistent, and clean racing throughout without anybody just being able to check out completely and take over.
Absolutely. That's absolutely key to for this kind of racing to be successful. You want to make sure that the drivers can stay close, but with the same token, you'll have some drivers. I mean, we saw there was maybe a 1 second or 1.2 second lead for the 2 leaders, and they were able to separate themselves from the rest of the pack, but you ultimately don't want to see just a single car, obviously, dominating the entire race.
The way, say, Tyler Fody did in the Truck Series last season.
Absolutely, yeah. It was that was something else for sure, and the way
we got to give Tyler credit because he had a great debut tonight until he got caught up in somebody else's mess.
Yeah, no, absolutely massive shout out, and I think he's still watching here the broadcast. So Tyler Fody, unfortunate man that you're out of the race so early, but seriously impressive early on in the run in your first IndyCar start. Looking forward to seeing how just how short of a time it is before we're talking about you contending for the win every week like we were in the Truck Series. iRacing pace car is still out on track, so we'll wait for that to peel off, and then that's our sign that we've got 1 to go. So lights are off on that. So we've got 2 laps to go effectively here with the way we're doing our manual pace laps. Got to show off that elite racing pace car that looks just so pretty there, leading the field back to green flag.
Oh yeah. Last time the pace car ducked in, he almost took out somebody who was going down pit road. Let's see if the iRacing pace car is a little more careful this time by.
Yeah, something I've got to say is, man, those pace car drivers in iRacing are some of the most aggressive drivers I've ever seen. I remember a race at Bristol, I think it was, where man, oh man, that it was a pace truck who just zoomed straight out on the track and immediately up to 100 miles an hour. Some for the drivers of the effective safety car, they certainly don't seem like the safest drivers out on
Everybody
track.
drives a bit nuts at Bristol. There goes the iRacing pace car. 1 to go. We're on completing lap 165 now. When we starting on 166 when we come by.
Yeah, we will be, and hopefully we'll be seeing a nice little green flag run here to the end that finishes off this race. A lot of drivers still in contention. Again, we talk about Van der Sant, Pinheiro, Marquez have all been impressing here tonight. Same thing with Shane Coogan, Nick Degroot, who was competing for the lead pack in that kind of second group that we had when we had split strategies in the race. Henry Bennett, our pole sitter. So many guys with a chance to make it work here. It's just going to be how you're able to manage the runs that come to you throughout this next the next 40 or so laps.
Field packing up now to restart. We will start on lap 167 as the Elite Racing car pace car comes off the track in the Maconi Setup Shop 300. We are back to green flag racing. Alexander Van der Zandt brings him down to the green flag. Adriano Pinheiro in second, Andrew Marquez third, Shane Coogan fourth, Nick Degroot fifth. Van der Zandt heading down into turn 1, followed by Pinheiro about 47 hundredths of a second behind.
Yeah, and here
Coogan is all over Marquez right now.
Yeah, and Coogan, here we go, going for the move on the inside, and even for the lead up ahead, you can see there Pinheiro going for a move on Van der Sant. So Pinheiro potentially making that move here. Does he get it?
He's clear.
done? He's cleared. There you go. Adriano Pinheiro takes over the lead and will lead the first lap after that caution flag here. As but Alexander Van der Sant not going to let him.
Fourth just dove underneath, and Marquez also got back out in front of Coogan.
Yeah, so
still Van der Sant, Pinheiro, Marquez, and Shane Coogan.
Yeah, these guys aren't going to let these overtakes happen too easily, especially with the end this close in sight. But Adriano Pinheiro back in the lead once again as we finish this lap, but Van der Sant with a chance to overtake once again. He dives it into turn 1, and Van der Sant gets the lead into the corner, but look at the exit that Pinheiro gets, and I think that's where he's getting these runs, and he's just going to go flying on past this. Tom Miles in the 06 car sets the fastest lap of the race down in 23rd position, 3 laps down. He's just enjoying his time out on track right now.
And if you can't win the race and be up front, at least try to set the fastest lap. Pinheiro just making a nice move down there. That narrow end of the track, he seems to be doing much better now in turns 1 and 2, while Van der Sant seems to be able to get him a little easier going into the wider turn 3 and 4 complex.
Yeah, it definitely seems like it. And there you see, once again, Van der Sant getting the move to the inside, but then he tracks up really, really high, and that's going to hurt his run off the corner. And once again, it's going to be advantage Pinheiro, who's going to now get that inside line, and that inside line seems to be the preferred line right now, especially for Van der Sant. He can really make moves when he's down there. But if Pinheiro gets the move and is able to go to the inside, look at what a great battle we've got here going for the lead.
Yeah.
2 corners, and these guys continue swapping positions as Van der Sant goes back on pass through 3 and 4. It's really just about who's able to enter turn 1 and 2 better, and then they exit. Both of them are weak on their exits, and then get passed once again. How many passes has that been? That's been 2 passes a lap for the past 5 or so laps.
Yeah, and it's that whole design difference between the 2 ends of the track, that the northern end of the track at 3 and 4 is a bit wider. That suits Van der Zandt's driving style a little bit better. Pinheiro is good going into that tighter 1 and 2 complex.
Well, for the first time, Pinheiro will lead the whole way around of that lap, but Van der Zandt not going to let that be the case for the following lap as he goes and has another lead change. I'd love to have seen a lead change graphic. Unfortunately, we don't quite have that with our latest version of the graphics package, but man, oh man, what a great race we're seeing going on here for the lead on lap 173 of 200.
Pick up an in-car and watch the fun up close.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at what it looks like from Adriano Pimento's cockpit.
Van der Zandt coming around, going down the backstretch now. Pinheiro is just tucking right up. Let's see if he makes that move. There he goes. Going down, taking the low line into turn 3 and 4. And retaking the lead. And there's the view from the back. Here comes Van der Zandt again.
And here we go, back to the nose cam, and you're going to see that 97 just slice on by on the inside of your screen, and there he goes. This battle is fantastic, and what's impressive as well is that they haven't been caught significantly by third place Andrew Marquez.
Marquez is running about 0.4 of a second, about half a second behind Van der Zandt in third. And they have a clear track ahead of them thanks to the yellow flag recently, and there's no lapped traffic ahead of them right now, so they can play at this all night long if they want to.
Absolutely, they can, and I think they will, because both of these guys are extremely hungry for a chance to win this race and start off their this IndyCar season, this 2021A IndyCar season with a bang. But and both of them have probably led the most laps here tonight as well. So both very much deserving of this win. But what a great scrap here to finish off this event between Van der Zandt and Pinheiro.
And here comes Pinheiro down and diving under, and here we go again. Another lead change.
Yeah, you really want to have that bottom line. That's so important here for making moves. And you're seeing these guys aggressive into the corners and then just kind of having to manage it as you come off of the corner as the pace car is out. And we've got a caution flag on track with, who was that? Stationary, potentially. Oh, man, it's going to be tough to find this one. Might be the 75 car is going to be my guess right now. Shane Coogan, and it is.
Oh, yeah.
That's unfortunate because he was having a great run there up inside the top 5.
Your iRace online replay.
Here we go. It's Shane Coogan versus Nick Degroot here through 3 and 4. Let's see what happens between these. Looks like Degroot might have gotten a little bit loose on the bottom, and that looked like netcode. Didn't look like they came together, but up in the catch fence, it could have been a brutal incident, and thankfully avoids any other drivers. But that's the end of the day for the driver in the number 75, Shane Coogan, who had a great race up until that point.
He had been running in the top 10 pretty much most of the night, in the top 5 a lot of it, but wow, what a way to go out.
Yeah, really unfortunate, and this is where things get interesting. Do drivers come down pit road? Do they stay out? We saw a couple of drivers take that call to go down pit road, but nobody passed P17, it looks like. Nobody past P17 has decided to come in for those fresh tires. So right now the call is to stay out. Whether or not these guys have another set of tires, they don't want to give up that track position.
There's also a good chance we've got 21 laps to go. We might get another caution too.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we made it about 20 laps on that last run, maybe a little bit less, and it could be a very similar situation here. So still big unknowns in this race left to be decided, with probably going back to green with about maybe 19, 18, 17 laps to go.
16, why not?
Let's say 16, yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Absolutely, we've I mean, so much can happen in the span of that time, and we were just seeing in that fantastic battle before this caution flag.
Still waiting for the iRacing or the Elite Racing League pace car to catch up, and he's coming up around the outside now.
There we go. Big shout out to the driver of that car, Mega Driver, or Ethan Reisner, your series sponsor of this IndyCar series, and has been for the past couple of seasons. He's also, I believe, in charge of keeping track of everything off track. So keeping an eye on all the incidents that occur on track and applying the blame to whoever deserves it, or announcing them as racing incidents whenever they are. So big shout out to Ethan Reisner there, driver of the pace car, as well as our off-track official, doing everything today to make sure that the racing here is as good as it is.
The firm hand of justice in Ethan Reisner tonight. We'll be coming down to complete lap 180 with 20 laps to go. Pinheiro, Van der Zandt, Marquez, and Nick Degroot, your top 4.
The iRacing pace car is still going to be out for probably one more lap here after this, I think. And that means we'll have 2 laps to go. Yeah, so it's gonna be an interesting race here. I mean, these guys also taking into account now are going to be racing with slightly worn tires, so you're working with less overall grip than what you had in that last run. So maybe not as many ballsy moves that we were seeing there in that previous stint. So we'll have to see just how this pans out and what drivers are doing. Though I'm sure there will be guys trying to make it stick, who might not necessarily have the grip underneath them that they might be used to having more than what they're going to have.
This is where it starts to get interesting, gang. We have 19 laps to go. The lights are out on their main pace car, which means we will have 1 lap left. When they come around, we have a lap and a half left before we go back to green. Adriano Pinheiro, Alexander Van der Zandt, Andrew Marquez, and Nick Degroot, your top 4. It's going to be a shootout to the finish in our race tonight. Hope you'll join us next week for more exciting Elite Racing League action in the IndyCar Series at the virtual streets of Long Beach.
Yeah, and again, just the variety of tracks we're going to be visiting on this calendar is exceptional. I remember when this started out as just a purely oval series, and we spent a whole lot of time trying to think about, should we really introduce the Indy road course to the calendar as a one-off event? Add that to the month of May calendar and that kind of things, and it's grown into a proper full series that we've got going on here. Where we've got guys running full time and running on all different types of racetracks. It's such a unique challenge for all of these drivers, and Long Beach is just going to be the next of those. The first race in Elite Racing Leagues at Long Beach, outside of that Road to Indy series that we had earlier in the year. I cannot wait.
Oh, this is going to be so much fun. Getting ready to come now to the green flag. Adriano Pinheiro is leading, and we're down to the start. We will be on lap 183 with 18 laps to go.
Here we go. The pace car is off, driven by Mega Driver 86 or Ethan Reisner, and Pinheiro is hitting the loud pedal. He's got his gap to Alexander Van der Zandt. Van der Zandt now has to close back up. You're going to see we'll see how quickly he can do that and try and fight Pinheiro for that lead. And what can Andrew Marquez, what can Nick Degroot, what can Henry Bennett do in terms of challenging for this race win?
They have not been able to get up, with the exception of Van der Zandt. They have not been able to get anywhere close to Pinheiro the second half of this entire race. It's been basically a two-man race.
Oh, and we've got a massive accident further back.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy, that's multiple cars.
That's a lot of cars involved in that wreck, and the caution flag will fly after that. Huge wreck there. We'll head to the Irace online replay as we've got a lot of drivers there involved in that one. Looks like it was on that restart, or not even on that restart. Looks like somebody just got taken out there, and I think we've got it right here. Is going to be the 55 car driven by Gil Ribeiro. Was the one who got caught up and really was involved in the start of that incident. Got turned by, tough to tell who exactly that was, but he got turned by some driver, and it was all its history from there. I mean, 8 cars involved in that massive wreck.
9 cars involved in this one. Some of them still bouncing.
Yeah, there you see Tom Holland is one of those cars involved. Joe McCattery involved in that incident. A.J. Hobson lost his front wing in that incident. Mark Rabilas seems to be okay as we'll head to live pictures here. Alec Balvan seems okay. Marshall Stanley, let's take a look at that car. He might have been involved in that. So I think we'll have a lot of drivers. Yeah, no front wing on that car either. So
yeah,
lots of damaged cars.
Yeah, pretty much a lot of the field is in there.
Yeah, very.
That's as close to the big one as we usually get in IndyCar racing.
Yeah, really. You don't often see incidents that big here, and that was a strange time to have it, but I guess these tight quarters racing late in the race, but yeah, man, oh man, a lot of cars there jumped.
Can we see, let's see if we can figure out who spun Ribeiro around.
Yeah, let's do that. Joe Ribeiro, and we'll head back into our replay file. Take a look and see what we can find. All right, it looks like we'll head over and I'll grab a still here. You've got Chad Frankenfield in front, but I think he misses the incident. It's that 26 car, I believe, is the number on the car behind Ribeiro. According to what I'm seeing on my screen, he's the one. Yep, he's the one who makes contact.
That would be Justin Fortner.
Yes, sir. The number 26, Justin Fortner, is the one who makes contact with Ribeiro and starts this wreck where we had a lot of cars involved. Once again, you see there the wild ride that Tom Holland there took. He's still rolling in the back of your shot.
And that's on the replay. He may still be rolling for all we know on the live shot.
Seems like he's okay, though. I think that car with a bunch of smoke coming out of it on pit road might just be Tom Holland. The official pace car has now just left pit road, so he'll be coming to pick up the field as well. We'll have a couple of laps under caution once again, and we're coming up to potentially having just a 10-lap shootout here to once again decide the winner of this race.
Right now we have 13 cars on the lead lap. That's assuming that pretty much everybody that was one lap down from Victor Del Porto, Alexander Rigon, Marshall Stanley. Justin Fortner, we know, was involved in that one. Jill Ribeiro, of course, in that accident. Tom Holland as well, and Tom Miles. Those guys we know were involved in it.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy, though. Yeah, just maybe 13 cars still on that lead lap. A lot of good cars taken out in that one.
See, just out of curiosity, do we have Fortner's in-car?
Yeah, let's take a look. We've still got some time here under this caution, so we'll head back to the Irace Online replay and see what it looked like from on board the 26 car of Justin Fortner. Might take a few seconds to rewind to that moment, but we thankfully got that time as we're.
Yeah, if we're gonna pin it on him for turning Ribeiro around, we might as well at least take a look at the replay and see if that's what actually happened.
Absolutely, great call there, and we'll ride on board here. Let's grab a roll bar picture here and see what it looked like. Here it is on board with Justin Fortner.
There's Ribeiro. Yep, just a little bit of a touch on the attenuator on the back.
Wow, yeah, huge hits for a lot of these guys here, and around and around they go, and there once again is that crazy flipping car of Tom Holland. The
back to live. Go ahead.
Yeah, back to live pictures. The iRacing pace car getting ready to peel off. That means we'll be one to go this time by, and yeah, we'll be getting ready for hopefully the last restart before the checkered flag.
Adriano, go ahead.
What can anybody do about Adriano Pinheiro? I mean, he has driven one heck of a race so far. Alexander Vandersand seemed to be the closest driver to competing with him, but on that last restart, looked like he didn't have much for the driver, the number 12. We'll take a look and see what we can do and who can challenge this 12 car. But Pinheiro has been almost untouchable so far tonight.
He is a rookie from Brazil in his first race in the Elite Racing League at Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series. Making his debut, can he hold on for the final 10 laps and take his first victory of the first race of the season? The pace car is off, and Pinheiro leads him down to the green flag. We are back to racing. Lap 190. We have 10 laps to go here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Down to the first turn. Alexander Vandersand trying to get back up under his rear wing.
Yeah, great restart there for Pinheiro. He got the gap he needed on Vandersand, just needs to try and do exactly what he's doing there. You see him going to the inside of the track and then diving back to the outside of the track. That's breaking up the draft, giving less time for Alexander Vandersand to spend just pulling in with the hole in the air that Adriano is pulling, is braking for him. But Van der Sant, that's not going to stop him yet. He's closing in on that 12 car, and we could have another fight for this lead here within the next 2 or 3 laps.
And Pinheiro is pulling that little cobra move going down the straightaways, trying to break that draft a little bit. Not sure whether you want to call it blocking or not, but he is using every inch of that track.
Here we go, on board with the second-place driver, Alexander Van der Sant. What can he do? You can see, again, taking that different line importantly through the corner than Adriano Pinheiro, because he's getting air onto that front wing, he's getting downforce onto that front wing, and he's getting the turn-in that he needs to get these runs off of the corners. Look out for Van der Sant on this front stretch. Here we go. This should be the run that gets this 97 potentially in contention for the lead of this race. He's going to look to the outside of Pinheiro. It's going to be a tricky move to make there, but he should have the run off of 2 now, assuming he does this properly. And you see him taking that late apex off the corner, and here comes Van der Sant. This is very much a full-on battle we've got here for the lead, as Andrew Marquez looks on and watching as these guys duke it out in front of him.
And Pinheiro keeps moving back up and trying to take some of that air off of Van der Zandt's wing as they come down. Van der Zandt was doing much better on the other end of the track, turns 3 and 4 earlier on when they were swapping the lead twice a lap. But I think Pinheiro has gotten his measure now and is figuring out just what kind of tactic that Van der Zandt's going to take, trying to take that high line. Pinheiro is staying low each time around and then taking the high line coming out of the turn to cut off the track access. But here comes Van der Zandt underneath, though.
Yeah, Van der Zandt getting that crossover. That's super, super important. I was going to say kudos to Pinheiro for hugging that bottom line, because it didn't look like Van der Zandt can make a pass on the top side, but then he lost that bottom to Van der Zandt, and here we go. We've got this swapping once again as Van der Zandt made the move through 1 and 2. Pinheiro makes it through 3 and 4.
We are coming down, starting 5 laps to go from this point out, as it's a drag race down the main stretch between Pinheiro and Van der Zandt. Van der Zandt takes over the lead going into turn 1. Pinheiro ducks down behind, coming low. Looks like he will try to make the move inside, coming into turn 3 and 4 on the way around. Pinheiro takes the lead into turn 3.
Here we go. Van der Zandt now gonna recover. He's got that high entrance to the corner. Looks like he's not quite actually there. He might not have gotten a great run there through 3 and 4 and won't be able to come back at Pinheiro. So he's gonna have to focus on turns 1 and 2, try and get that run once again. Or is this the end for Van der Zandt? Can he come back at Pinheiro? Or is this sealing the deal for Adriano Pinheiro with 4 laps to go, 3.5 laps really, as we're coming down to almost finish this second or this 4th to last lap.
It's about a quarter second now of the lead for Pinheiro as they come down. 3 laps to go at this point. Pinheiro with about a 3/10 of a second lead over Alexander Van der Zandt with 3 laps to go here in the Maconi Setup Shop Indy 300 at virtual Homestead Speedway. Can Van der Zandt come back? It's 3/10 of a second now.
And they've absolutely pulled away from Andrew Marquez. You see him 1.1 seconds back from leader Adriano Pinheiro, but the gap for Van der Zandt is 0.4 seconds already, so he's dropping back from his 12 car. It looks like he might have used up his tires just a little bit with 2 laps to go in this race. I don't know if Van der Zandt has anything for Adriano Pinheiro, who's now pulling away at the front of this field.
And it looks like Marquez is getting a little closer to Van der Zandt. He might make a move for second here before long. We come down to the white flag. The last call for WhiskeyCast.com. If you're into whiskeys, you really want to check out WhiskeyCast.com, our weekly podcast and weekly Friday night webcasts as well. Look forward at WhiskeyCast.com. As Adriano Pinheiro comes down, turning into 3, 2 turns left to go. Go ahead and call it Rich Costler.
I mean, what a drive by Adriano Pinheiro here tonight. Off of turn 4, drives it beautifully to the checkered flag. Adriano Pinheiro wins the Maconi Setup Shop 300 here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. 200 laps completed for that number 12 car. I mean, have to say it, just a dominant performance, an amazing performance by the rookie from Brazil. He brings that car to victory lane. What a drive.
Alexander Van der Zandt comes in second, 7/10 of a second back. Andrew Marquez third, Henry Bennett fourth, and Tristan Wood comes in 5th. Nick Degroot 6th, Chris Wilhite 7th, Chad Frankenfield finishes 8th, Yari Brupaker in 9th, and Brendan Madonia is in 10th place.
There's your winner, that Bread King number 12 car for Adriano Pinheiro. What a great job by this driver here What a great debut here at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. What a great race we had to start off this 2021A Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series.
This was a good one. One of those classic races where lots of lead changes, lots of action, and in the end, the best car wound up winning. Adriano Pinheiro, congratulations to him. With Van der Zandt second, Marquez third, Henry Bennett fourth, Tristan Wood once again rounding out the top 5.
Yeah, we're going to show you the top 10. I mean, but you can see right there, so many cars out of this race towards the end there, as a lot of these cars coming down to pit road. But yeah, so many cars taken out in that last major wreck here. Not a lot of cars ended up finishing on the lead lap here. So an impressive run for the guys who were able to make it to the end. Some of those guys you see who were out early on, you look back at R.C. Anderson, who had such a great start, had so much pace, got taken out early. Same thing with Tyler Fode as well. Those are two guys we're going to be keeping our eyes on the whole season. But it's celebration time for Adriano Pinheiro. What a drive he's had today. P1 at the end of the day.
And we will try to see if we can get him into the room for a quick interview.
We'll take a look and see. Hopefully he's able to join us in our broadcast booth. But so far, nobody in the waiting room quite yet. We'll take a look and see. Wait a couple of seconds here or wait a couple of minutes here and see.
Well, Adriano is a rookie, so he may not know he's supposed to come to the interview room.
Also, just heard that Adriano does not speak English, actually, so he will not be joining us for an interview.
His English is better than our Portuguese.
That's very true. So, still congratulations to Adriano for winning this race. Unfortunately, we won't be able to bring him into the booth with us for the Winner's Circle celebrations. But we'll cap off that broadcast then here tonight. What an impressive first race of the season, Mark, and looking forward to the rest of this one alongside you in the booth.
First of 11 races, 10 left to go. We'll bring it back next Friday night and run it back at Long Beach at 7:30 Eastern Time on the virtual streets of Long Beach. Looking forward to it, Rish.
All right, well, with that being said, we'll log off for tonight. So from myself, Rishav Khosla, and Mark Gillespie up here in the booth, we want to thank you guys all so much for hanging around with us for the past 2.5 hours or so. It's been great racing here in the IndyCar Series, the Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series. Of course, we want to thank our sponsor for the race, Maconi Setup Shop, as well as our Elite Racing premier sponsors, C2 Freight Resources and Rich Marr Florist. Thank you all so much for tuning into the Elite Racing Network. We'll be back with IndyCar coverage next Friday night at 7:30 p.m., same time as this. But make sure you're also tuning into the Elite Racing Network with our racing on Sunday nights in the NASCAR trucks, on Monday nights in the Xfinity cars, and Wednesday nights in the Join APS Cup Series cars, and of course, the special event this coming Tuesday at the WWT Raceway, the Pro-Am event. With that, we're signing off for tonight.
With some guy named Kyle Busch, I think is going to race in that one. We'll see how he does. I've heard he's pretty good.
I never heard of him. I'll look forward to seeing him.
I think he's got a big brother.
His big brother won a championship. That's all I know.
Ooh. We hope he's not watching. He's going to say, "Well, who the hell are these guys?"
I'm going to regret that, aren't I? But
yeah, because you're on the broadcast.
I'm on the broadcast too. But
yeah, I'm taking Tuesday night off. I'm going to watch the fun and listen to. I can't wait to hear that waiting room if
he ends up winning that or finishing in the top 3. That could certainly be an interesting one. Kyle, I'm very sorry if you're watching here tonight, but thank you.
He's got better things to do. He's got to race at Daytona this weekend.
That's very true. But still, for those of you who did tune in tonight, thank you all so much, and we will see you all next week.
Thanks, guys. Stay safe.